Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday to everybody but Eagles fans. We will get into that game and more, but first things first, you in the chat, I hope you're doing great. Thanks for joining. We'll let some people shuffle in here. I have one housekeeping item that's kind of a big deal. Listen, a few years back when I retired, I went to the ESPYs, not to get an award, I don't think. Used to be a fun party. I ran into Jake Wood. Jake Wood is a guy, Beau, you might know him, who played at Wisconsin. Total stud.
Badger
right?
legend.
Badger legend. Yeah. Military veteran, and a guy that said, hey, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Well, I want to help people. I want to be the helping hand when there's a disaster, when there's, a hurricane or, there's an earthquake or what have you. Like, we see this stuff on the news and, people are giving aid, but you never know. It's about the volunteers too. It's about the manpower. It's about people that are like willing to get boots on the ground, throw up sandbags, deliver water, help transport people, load up boats and go get people from their houses. Like, with everything that's going on this weekend in America, up and down the Eastern Seaboard, but most importantly to me, in my region, I live in Western Central Virginia. When people ask you like where we live, are you kind of like, oh, it's complicated because we're kind of up near West Virginia, but we're really Central Virginia.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I'm within a 2-3 hour drive of Tennessee, North Carolina. There's a lot of places. We just went through the beautiful state of Tennessee to go to that Bussin' with the Boys party, camped in Cookeville.
Gorgeous the whole way. Drove
through some beautiful places in southeastern Tennessee. And southeastern Tennessee might as well be southwestern Virginia. And, North Carolina might as well be Virginia to me. It's all like the same region. It's all home. And there's a lot of wonderful people living in this region that woke up Friday, Saturday, Sunday with nothing. And like talking about whole towns being wiped out, like seeing a video where they're like, here's where the town was. It's gone. It's really hard to imagine, it's not just waking up without your belongings. You can get those back. It's loved ones being unaccounted for. It's the entire fabric of where you grew up gone. Like, there's no, like, Asheville looks to me like a city that has to get rebuilt. And there are places in Tennessee and North Carolina that are cut off from help, that are just, people have been trapped over the course of a couple of days. The rain this weekend was absurd. And lucky for me, I live in an area that didn't flood badly, but I look around and I see the devastation close to home. And when I met Jake Wood, I was like, man, I was so moved by what he does, what he's decided to do, that I was like, one day I want to help you. And usually I end up feeling like, damn, there they are hard at work down there, and I haven't done anything for Team Rubicon. We're not going to wait any longer. We're going to help these guys and gals right now in their efforts to help the folks that live near me. I mean, like, there's people in Florida that were absolutely devastated with this thing. They're used to hurricanes down there. It's something that happens. But, like, when you think about flooding, there was a flood in Virginia, Hurricane Camille, I think, in Nelson County in the 1970s, one county over. The whole county got wiped out. People living in hollers and in these areas that, like, it's so mountainous. Things change so fast. And I think about that, and I think about the devastation that people still talk about around here 50 years later, and that's what those people are going through in North Carolina, Tennessee, Southern Virginia, in this region. So we're going to help out. Greenlight's going to help out. Team Rubicon is a veteran-led humanitarian organization that serves global communities before, during, and after disasters and crises. So we called Team Rubicon up. We hit up Jake and we said, hey, we want to help. After the devastation that really happened throughout the southern United States, they're executing a multi-state response to Hurricane Helene's flooding. And so Greenlight's going to donate $25K to Team Rubicon. And we encourage everybody listening, watching, to do what you can to support that recovery effort. Like, if it's not me, who's it going to be? And that's the attitude I hope we have as a podcast and as a listenership. There's a lot of people who are hurting. We got to watch football yesterday. Like, my world is totally different than the people, in East Tennessee or in North Carolina, in Asheville's world. So,
and that donation, Oh,
Yeah, I'm getting there.
perfect.
That donation is going to put what? How many people on the ground?
30.
30 people on the ground for a week. So you know where your money's going. So hey, we're gonna give Rubicon $25K. That's going to be a team that's going to be on the ground because we were able to do something about it. I hope that we can, by the end of this week or couple week period, as a podcast, raise enough money that we can get multiple teams on the ground.
Even just $50 will gas up a volunteer responder vehicle.
Yep. You know, $25, $50, $100, $5. Just donate now if you want to support Team Rubicon's Hurricane Helene response. We're going to leave information on the podcast. I'm going to be going on some shows this week to pump this thing. And hey, us, like, we're not far away, so we want to do more to help. But like you might be anywhere in the country. Like, just please, like, what good is it saying we're Americans together if we're not helping each other out? You know, to me, I don't look at like East Tennessee as like, well, it's not my state. You know, like, those folks are just like me. They're just like us, and they're a state away. And it doesn't matter that there's flooding in North Carolina, in Tennessee. We're going to help those folks because they're our neighbors. And I know there's a lot of listeners down there. Shout out Josh Stack, one of our, our loyal listeners for a long time, lives in Nashville. I think he's okay. But, a lot of people woke up this week and everything was gone. And we are so damn lucky. I mean, we're just so damn lucky. Let's help out. Donate or volunteer. Visit www.trusa.co/Chris Long. Okay, so we're gonna be throwing that information up, not just today, through the week. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you for taking the time at the top of the show to talk about something serious. Okay. Hey, second thing. I don't mean to go downer to downer here, but this, like, I'm gonna try to, and this isn't a football topic, but if you know me, he's one of my favorite people, and he's not here anymore. He's Kristofferson. During the 4 p.m.s yesterday, I got a text that Kris died, and if you don't know who Kristofferson is, he was an 88-year-old man, but he was one quarter of the Highwaymen, which is one of my favorite group ever, comprised of Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Kristofferson, and now the last man standing, Willie Nelson. These guys this was real country. This was real music. They transcended a genre. He was one of the most brilliant songwriters of all time. And yeah, I'm sad he's gone, but like, fuck, some people die and they don't live at all. This guy lived like 5 lives in 88 years. So I just like to take a minute to celebrate his life. Rhodes Scholar, Army helicopter pilot, both things. One of the greatest songwriters of all time. He wrote "Help Me Make It Through the Night" sitting on top of an oil rig, working as a dredging contractor. I mean, like, he wrote "Sunday Morning Coming Down" working as a janitor in Nashville. He was just a janitor in Nashville, running down June Carter, trying to get his demos to Johnny Cash. Like, whoever could, he landed a fucking helicopter on Johnny Cash's front lawn to try to get him the tapes. And Johnny Cash says he emerged from the helicopter with a beer and a tape in his hand. Well, that's bullshit. What? Supposedly Cash was taking a nap, and June came in and was like, these crazies are landing on in your front yard, like. But he eventually became one of Johnny's best friend. He was one quarter of the Highwaymen, as I said. He was real country. He was a storyteller. He was a man. To me, there aren't enough real men left, and I don't mean that in a way of like being masculine or that sort of thing. I mean being a fucking man, but there being more to it than just being a fucking man. He was a beautiful human being, and he was a brilliant cat. And now he's gone. But like I said, he lived 5 lives, and so he didn't give a shit about what people thought. He always did his own thing. And if you don't like country, you gotta spare me this 5 minutes of the show, because he's one of my favorite artists of all time. And I think the thing that sucks with all my favorites dying and all people like me who love old music, you wonder who's going to carry the torch. I hope that when my son Waylon is 39 years old like me, he's listening to Strings, Stapleton, and Sturgill. Mm-hmm. He's touring his ass off right now. So, little layup line. We'll throw the new album on from Billy Strings real quick. Cowboy, what's your favorite song on the album?
I love Escabanya. That's a pickin' song.
Escabanya.
But
Escabanya.
Also,
well, my turtle box is, you'll just have to go get it yourself, But this is an amazing album. Escabania is great. No, we're not going to fix it right now, Reed. We're just going to move on with the show. People are going to go download, stream the album, Billy String's Highway Prayers. It's fucking awesome. I saved eight songs off the album immediately. Do you like Billy Strings, Nate?
No, we know Nate doesn't like Billy Strings. When we were in Arizona, we were throwing Billy Strings in the rental car, and he was changing the music in the back seat.
Yep.
From the back seat.
Yep, that's right.
Why you guys throw me under the bus? Because I'm not educated on music as well.
Dude, you're not throwing yourself on the bus. You walked in earlier and you were like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
He points to a picture of Muddy Waters, and I had to explain to him like the whole thing. And there's more music out there is all I'm saying.
I saved some Muddy Waters onto my playlist already.
Good. There we go.
Look at that.
All right. So anything else before we get started, fellas?
Real quick, just wanted to say rest in peace to Dikembe
Everybody's
Mutombo, one of the great players of all time. I know the Sixers fans will remember him getting you to the finals in 2001. I'll never forget him grasping the ball when they beat the Supersonics as the Nuggets in 1994, one of my earliest basketball memories. But the best thing about him was his culture of giving. He gave so much back to the Democratic Republic of Congo, so I hope we can all remember that.
No question. He was another brilliant guy, man. Like, he did so much more than what he was famous for. Like, he was not just a basketball player. I had no idea he was sick.
I don't think anybody did.
Super sad. R.I.P. to Dikembe Mutombo, R.I.P. to Kristofferson. I mean, what a rough Sunday, guys. But we press on and we talk about football. This is what keeps me from like crying on a Sunday afternoon because Kris is dead. Is like there's a game on. You know, football gives us a great escape in this country. This is what brings us together when things are fucked up and, you know, there's communities flooding and like hopefully we can do something good out of this and raise some money. So football, as much as you complain about the quality of football, I had somebody in my mentions like, it's unwatchable. I'm like, well, stop watching because this is awesome. I mean, like, I'm having a lot of fun here. And last night was a fun game. Okay, even if you're a Bills fan, it was an informative game. It really was. I mean, like, the first play of the game, to me, defines the entire game. The first play of the game, okay? Like, the blocks, you know, that was a wham block. What'd you say? It was like the wham block.
Wham trap.
Wham trap.
Wham
trap block.
Ear hold on Oliver.
And Derrick Henry to the house. He's the biggest human being on the field. He might be bigger than any of the fucking D linemen for Buffalo.
Yeah.
Seriously. Look at him. Stand him next to Smoot.
Yep.
Who they're playing as a heavy end in that game in a lot of spots. He's bigger than Ed Oliver. He's definitely bigger than those little guys on the Buffalo defense. And when he crossed the 40-yard line, nobody gained a step. I was thinking this morning, it reminded me of when that guy got a hold of that tank in San Diego and there were all those little cop cars chasing him and they just like couldn't stop him. This is if the tank could go 100 miles an hour. I mean, it was unbelievable. It's on there it is, back in San Diego. The guy took a tank on a joyride.
Hey, Derrick Henry probably got rolling faster than that tank can even go. What you
For
want to know what his
sure.
top speed was, Kris?
Let me take a guess. 20 and a half miles an hour.
22.
You think 22, Nate?
Yeah.
21.29 miles per hour according to Next Gen Stats.
So sometimes when I drive,
He'll get a ticket in my neighborhood.
he would get a ticket in my neighborhood too. I was just about to say
It's
this.
15.
When I drive home, sometimes on my gravel road, it says 10 miles an hour, but I can't go 10 miles an hour. Nobody can go. You can't physically go 10 miles an hour. Derrick Henry can't go 10 miles an hour. Sometimes I'll be driving and I'll be like, this is how fast Derrick Henry runs.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane to me. And just listen, the commitment to the run game, we said this coming in, like they were going to get big and challenge you to load the box. And if you load the box, they were going to drop it behind your linebackers. And that's what it was the whole game. Like, it honestly was a game where big guys got out in space. Mark Andrews, who has caught like 3 balls on the year. I'm exaggerating, but it's like he's disappeared in the passing game. What a team guy. You know, he comes out, he buries who did he bury in the red zone? He buried Cam Lewis in the red zone. He led Lamar to that rushing touchdown. Makari in space. By the way, Makari playing guard, Rosengard at right tackle. It's like my Christmas wish list was answered in one damn night. And what I like about Rosengard is his length makes him a factor in the run game. Mm-hmm. It's not just like you can look at the one guy, Makari, and say, well, he's a road grader, and this guy's not. This guy's got good length, and he's interested in blocking. So play action pass, the out leveraging of Buffalo's defense the entire night, whether it was out leveraging them vertically, sucking the linebackers up. I just give you time to say whatever you're going to say. And then it's also like the mesh, holding the mesh, getting leverage on the outside. The linebackers are just not that good right now. You saw Dorian Williams. He tagged Justice Hill in the red zone. It was like tag. They're so outmatched at the second level of defense right now, playing that team, and up front, that this is just you had to play better offensively to keep up. And so even the pump draws had the guys running backwards, sideways, and then here comes the draw. So it was a masterful game plan. Lamar played great. He made really good throws. This is why, and I'll open it up here, guys. This is why I said to Rich Eisen last week. I said it to Rich Eisen. He's like, come on the show Tuesday. And he's my boy. I love Rich. I'm going on a show again tomorrow. But he did the thing, and I've imitated him 5 times now, where he's like, are the Bills the best team in the AFC, Kris? And I'm like, it's not even Halloween, Rich. And this is why. I said at some point this year, they're going to run into a team that's going to be a bad matchup for the defense because they're down guys. And they're not built big. They're not a big group, okay? They came in and said, we're going to check your chin, and it worked, and the Bills they missed their chances to stay in it.
So, as I said to you, off the show, I'm excited. I've been compiling a sample size for betting.
Yeah.
And the Harbaugh brothers.
This is really good.
They cannot win in the same week. So the Chargers lost earlier.
Right.
And that means the Ravens, obviously they had to win. In all the past weeks, it's been the same situation. And I think even for next week with the Chargers on a bye, that means it's automatic another win for the Ravens.
Yeah, honestly, you've nailed this thing. And last night, not that I didn't bet the Bills, I bet the over. By the way, Nate Wiggins, what's your Venmo? Because if you catch that pick 6 at the end of the game, I'm a lot happier today. But I wasn't on the Bills. I just, I wanted to see a good game, and I had it in Dumb and Dumber when he puts X-Lax in there and he's got the picture of Lloyd laughing at him in his head. That's how I had you laughing at me last night in my head, because the Harbaugh thing is true, dude. It's fucking true. You called it, and they can't win at the same time.
The football guys won't allow it to happen.
But more than anything, Beau, tell me what you think about this. I did not like the fact that, on possession 1, you're down 7-0 if you're the Bills. It's 4th and 1 on 39. You sneak it for 3 yards. A couple plays later at the 50, you punt on 4th and 2 or whatever it is. And then the next time you touch the ball, it's 14-0. You could do this 3-4 times, 14-3. You punt the ball in the same 4th and 1 situation you went for earlier in the game at the 39, 4th and 1. To me, if Sean McDermott was an offensive coach, and I think he's done a great job, I don't think he has so much faith in his defense there. I think there's a little bit of these are my guys, we'll figure it out. Where if I were an offensive coach, I would have said, hey, it's pretty apparent to me that Derrick Henry is going to run for 2 miles today, and we're not going to get the ball back if we punt. So maybe we should fucking take chances. And I know the fuck counter is going up and up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 6 or 7. No, but I agree.
It is what it is.
I think you're already kind of pot committed once you go for it in that first 4th down situation. Just go for it again. The way the game started for the Ravens offensively, you're kind of behind the 8 ball already.
That's right.
The Bills aren't built to win from behind. They're going to have to play 12 personnel. They're going to have to run the ball. You know what I mean? They're not going to win if they have to throw the ball 50 times a game because they're coming from behind. So I'm with you on that one. I really think you should have gone for it too. It's plus it just kind of sets the tone for your team. It's going to be one of those games. We're going to have to convert these 4th downs. We're going to have to do what we have to do to win this game. So
yeah,
I agree with you.
And it was evident from the beginning that you wonder what kind of game plan the Ravens would come in with. And I think that the key was they said, hey, we're going to stay in dime. And what that's going to do is that's going to alleviate some of the pressure that the Bills have been able to put on the middle of the defense in earlier weeks. They said, hey, you've got to win outside. And I really think Kyle Hamilton's the reason you can do that. I also want to shout out the guys up front because they were whooping ass. Number 98 for the Ravens.
Travis Jones.
He had a really good game. He's a big dude. But Hamilton's the straw that stirs the drink because he can allow you to do that, stay in dime. Yeah. And then if you want to win your matchups outside, and I think this is the good news for the Bills, is like they had a learning experience. Like if a team can man us up and we have to win outside, it's going to be there with Coleman. In the first half, they're this close before the half to getting one on the left sideline, I think it was. Mm-hmm. In the second half, they took multiple shots to him. He's a guy you've got to be able to throw the ball up to and ask him to win. And so, it's a good learning experience for them. The Ravens just manned them up. They stayed light. And I think next time you see a team like this or the Ravens, you got to feel like it'll be closer. I still think the same problem will persist. The physicality of this group is a lot to handle. But when you get Milano back, you're a little less exposed, if you see him in the playoffs, to the play action just killing you. Teron Johnson will help. But still, this Ravens team over the first 4 weeks of the season has figured some things out. Mm-hmm. And that's considering they still were 8 for 79 in penalties.
Yep.
Okay, when they put it together with Derrick Henry here.
Lamar and Derrick Henry are on pace for a combined of 3,350 yards right now after 4 games.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. They are, that backfield is scary.
It's unreal.
Just the two of them. And then you put Justice Hill in there and pick your matchup. It's like there were so many moments where you could see the Bills just being like, fuck it, we got to put 8-9 guys in the box. And they were like, okay, we got something for that too. This offense, they can run the ball this year in a way that they couldn't last year. Okay, and that was the design of bringing Henry in. And I wondered,
but my thing,
formationally, how are they going to do things? You made a point coming in. Sorry, Nate, but like at the home and out of pistol, they ran roughshod over them. So
yeah, it was like
that's what we talked about.
22 carries for 192 yards.
Yeah,
3 of them explosives and a TD for Henry.
Yeah, you can work around the gun preference.
Yep.
So now, like with seeing that what Ravens put out on the field last night and how productive it was, do you think that like we're going to continue to see the same formula, or are they going to switch it up?
Yeah, I think we'll see the same formula, especially when they play Cincinnati this week. Who
the run?
I got to be honest, I could pick up 50 yards on that defense right now.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad for Cincy.
Well, we don't know. This is the kind of the game where you're like, it makes no sense, but I think. We'll get to Cincy. Let's talk about Cincy right now before we get to the Chiefs. Like, let's just round out the AFC North, because what we're doing here is we're talking about those two teams are the two. They're playing the best in the AFC. We came out of last night and we were like, okay, if the Bills win this game, they're the best team in the AFC. We can say that, right? At this point, even though Rich was trying to get out of me a weekend earlier. For now, if the Ravens pull off a win, or better yet, a statement like this, then they are the Ravens, okay?
Yeah.
And this team's ceiling is higher than last year's ceiling, because to me, and by the way, Zach Orr, really nice job taking your lumps early in the season and then having a nice night last night. But like, to me, that's the most like helpless somebody's made Josh look in a while. Mm-hmm. And I think on top of it, when you got into the playoffs last year, you just decided not to run the football. You decided not to run the football, and there have been games with this team where you can see it when they decide to impose their will, they can be hard to deal with. And this version of that team, we said last night, like, if you can stop the run, you can hang in there with these guys.
Yep. Then
Then you look around the AFC and you say, who can stop the run?
Right.
Which out of the great teams in the AFC, how many great teams are there?
Right.
So just by doing the easy things well for them, they can be one of the elites of the AFC again, and they probably have a higher ceiling. Okay, talking about the AFC North, you guys looked at the Pittsburgh game, and I wanted to see what you thought.
Steelers.
Nate, take the lead on that. I got to swap my mic out real quick.
Oh, this guy with mic issues.
Steelers first loss, but the Steelers, if you watch this game, they're a few mistakes away from it being a totally different game. In the first half, they went for it on a 4th down that they didn't get. That was huge. And then you have Pickens, who had like unforced error fumble. It was a weird play on the sideline where should have just got out of bounds. And it's something with him. He's a great player, but he just has too many kind of mental errors that end up being turnovers. And if he just gets that together, it'll just make this team that much better because he's really a threat. He actually played a very good game, but in the grand scheme of things, that fumble and him fumbling in the red zone.
Pickens.
Yes.
That's become a very Pickens play. Like that's a Pickens play to me, which is not good.
It's not good
because you're so damn talented. Sorry, I'm the Pickens. I love Pickens. I'm overheating.
No, exactly.
Because I'm just like, this guy could be a Hall of Famer. Just take care of the ball.
But him and Justin Fields look really good together. Justin
They
had
do.
some really, really good balls.
Yeah.
But it's just something that if Pickens, if he gets it together and in the mental part, you get that together. Everyone knows you're a great athlete. Your quarterback trusts you. He's throwing you back shoulder bullets that you're catching.
Yeah.
And you're doing all the hard stuff. It's just the easy stuff. You just got to get together. And on the other hand, another great quarterback, but he just has to stay healthy. Richardson, we always say it, running quarterbacks, it's hard to stay healthy and you got to protect yourself.
When Shane, he's dinged, and then Shane's like, hey, like go back in. The first play is going to be a QB run play. Like Shane's too smart for that.
I mean,
Maybe having Joe Flacco in helped them get that win.
yeah.
I mean, hey, listen, and hey, it was inevitable we were going to see him because of the style of play with Anthony.
Yep.
And I think Anthony's still the sky's the limit because I think you can fix mechanics, but is the sky limit this year? Because I don't know this. Can you fix mechanics on the fly in the NFL for a quarterback? It's really hard. Maybe if he's dinged, it's a thing where he takes a week or two and gets right.
Or
and
you turn him into a Taysom Hill role.
I don't think so. I think you still have dreams of this guy. All these top-end plays are just too tantalizing to just write this kid off and turn him into anything other than your franchise quarterback if you can. But the point is, really nice to have a Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And it makes it even more confounding.
Flacco played great.
No,
man.
yeah.
He was great. He was good. I think the Steelers were just kind of due for a surprising loss.
Absolutely.
I
You know what
guess,
mean?
yeah.
Like, they didn't protect the ball well. The defense did not play as well in this game as they have in the previous 3 games.
Pittman cooked them, and it doesn't matter who's quarterback. Pittman's a baller.
But they've been having trouble getting him the ball, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so this is a really good step.
This is a really, really good step, and I know that if anyone's happy, he's probably happy. And then it's kind of funny. Watching this game, you realize that Pittsburgh, they kind of have an extra pep in their step when Cordell Patterson is getting the ball versus Najee Harris. I don't know what that is, but it's just when Cordero gets the ball, he runs so hard. I feel like it's like infectious. Not saying that Harris doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's funny. There's a viral picture going around. I guess Najee Harris, like when he was standing in the tunnel, he was giving the middle fingers up. And Zaire Franklin he reposted it, and I think he says 80. He goes, "That kid's soft. 84 runs way harder." And I was like, "There's no lies told there."
Well, I mean, there are big backs that I've played before that I was like, they don't really run that hard. You know, like it's not to say they're soft. I think I haven't tackled Najee Harris. I wouldn't want to do it at this juncture, like maybe 10 years ago, but. So I'm not saying I'd never tackled him, but sometimes, that does play out where it's like big back. And I also think it's like it's kind of an inclination. I have an inclination that playing these guys, it's not about how good they are in the run game. It's about how committed they are to it, And I think we saw that last week with the Chargers. Eventually, the dam broke. Right? They just kept, like, bam, bam, bam. When we used to say, "Hey, you never know the offensive line when they're going to give up or when things are going to open up for you." So they did that, and that's kind of, if you look at their yards per carry and that sort of thing, it's not like they're breaking off a bunch of chunks. Now the team in Indy, which worried me going in, was like they've got explosives.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. They got a back who can really hurt you. And, Pittsburgh's down Jaylen Warren. So there's an adjustment early in the game. It does come down to two red, plus territory trips that they come up empty on. But I think the most important thing is you're going to lose games this year.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the Steelers. Yep. Okay, we're not holding you to the, standard of the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Bills or like one of the – it's going to be ugly sometimes. But what it can't be is every time you go down, you're going to lose a game. And so I think, like, take what Justin Fields did in the second half and sprinkle some of that into your game plan.
And this is,
and I don't want to make it too easy.
But this is why the little things with Pickens is such a close game. It's just like, yo, bro, that fumble, that potentially is the game. It's potentially like we're saying, like, no one expects you guys to go undefeated, but like, let a team beat you. Like, don't beat yourself.
Yep, no question. This team can win a lot of games because of the defense. But I said this coming in. I bet this game at like 1 a.m. on Tuesday. It's a bad time to bet.
Nothing good happens after 1 a.m.
Not on Tuesday if you're in your app. And I just, as we got to the previews, you can run it back, but I was like, this is one that's kind of sketchy. And it turned out to be that spot. And, nobody scripted it like Joe Flacco's going to come in the game. But again, here he shows up and he's pretty good. I mean, he can still play football. And it makes it even more confounding if you're a Browns fan that, like, you're stuck in purgatory and you let this guy walk, which to me was like a total indication that it affected the quarterback having him in the building. So not only did you sign him to a bad deal, but then you just burnt the bridge.
And for Colts fans.
And now you're stuck.
And And for Colts fans with Joe, we don't know whether Richardson will be back next week, but you don't necessarily lose the explosive element to your offense. I mean, he's going to force some. He's going to give the defense some chances, but obviously they were still able to put some points on the board. So,
there were some stretches where they were moving the ball. So this isn't a team that can't move the ball. Just take the handcuffs off yourself at times. And now you're down James Daniels.
Right.
And you've had injuries up front. Sam Malu's out. So you got rookies playing. You got a rookie center. You've got tackles who are young. Okay. And to credit these guys, they have gone and tried to put out the fire up front, but they haven't been that efficient doing it because some of these guys need a little time, and some of them are now hurt, the guys that you want to lean on, the vets. And so, this is an impediment to how they want to do things, and it might demand a little adaptability. And to me, I think Arthur Smith's got that in his bag. So, hey, before we get to the Bengals, it's up in the chat a little bit. Like, somebody said nobody's winning with La running back, and they're talking about Lamar Jackson. What fucking year is it, man? What fucking year is it? Like, are we still doing this? You fucking mouth breathers. I mean, you can say he's not my cup of tea. I've said before that he hasn't won in the playoffs. I've said that he didn't show up last year in the playoffs. But look around the fucking league. There's some guys that can't move who can't hit the broadside of a barn. They just paid Trevor Lawrence $250 million to throw, full counts. All right? Like, Lamar Jackson is a fucking quarterback who happens to be electric. That's what we should be saying. I don't know. Like, when are we going to drop this shit? You can say he's not your favorite quarterback, but come on. To discredit this guy with the state of the quarterback play in the league is absurd. Well, my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Now, I never knew what the fuck that meant for a long time. But what it means is when you're gifted something like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen on Sunday night, you don't complain about the existence of Lamar Jackson in the NFL. Or come on, please, fuck out of here. They didn't give him anybody outside. Anyways, let's talk about the Bengals. I can't believe anything else we want to, like, any 10-year-old tropes we want to dust off this morning. All right. And you're going to say, oh, you're just mad. I'm mad because it's stupid. All right. Oh, the Bengals. Okay.
It's a little early in the show for you to be busting out that voice, Kris.
Oh, he's a running back. Oh, I don't like seeing a black guy win MVP at quarterback. You're not going to like when I get to the Jayden Daniels conversation. Fuck. Please, dude. And I'm not one of the. I'm not. Everything to me is not about the extra conversation. It's not always about the think piece to me. Okay, so I'm not one of these people that makes everything a think piece. But I'm also like, when I see a mouth breather, I say, well, unstuff your fucking nostrils, man. Like, get a breathe right strip. I tried one this weekend. It's fantastic.
Bro, you never tried one before?
Dude, it left a little bruise on my nose, but it was pretty awesome. Bro. I could breathe. I'm going to
sleep with them.
I've had my nose broken. I'm going to get the damn surgery.
I used to play in games with clear ones.
Yeah, I need to get I need to breathe right on this show because now I'm hyperventilating because people are calling Lamar a running back. It's Monday morning. They won 35-10 last night. Fuck. Who do you want? Anyways.
Breathe right. Send some boxing, some strips.
I need a breathe right strip. All right. The Bengals, man, it's kind of the same game they ended up. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but if we're talking about the AFC and like how this division shakes out, are they out of it? No.
They're cooked.
No, they're not. They look good last night. They look
against
good.
the Panthers. Against the
Panthers were good too. This was a good game.
Where did they struggle?
They gave up 100 yards to Chuba.
No shit. Their defense sucks right now, but you can't say they're cooked.
Yeah. They got the Ravens coming in. They're going to beat them 1-4.
Are we talking about Thursday or are we talking about the whole season? Because cooked implies that there's no coming back. When we've seen this year after year, where's your muscle memory?
Because
I don't think, every year.
I think they have guys on their team that I don't know if they're going to go into the tank, but I don't think starting 1-4, that's a team.
1-3.
Oh,
they've been doing that.
1-3 now. Okay. But yes, if they lose to the Ravens, or you're assuming that they're going to beat the Ravens?
No, I'm not assuming. I'm not making any assumptions. Outscoring them is the only way.
Okay? No, I understand that.
And quite honestly, I think watching this offense right now, like we should not ignore the fact that they look pretty good. Like their offense looks pretty good. And you could say, "Oh, it's against the Commanders or it's against the fucking."
And you've seen the Ravens defense. You just bigged up the Ravens defense. How well they are.
So what I've also done is I've pointed out in this very 24-hour period that it's September and everything looks different every week.
True.
Do you remember week one when
Raiders, Nate?
Do you remember week one when the Niners were going to the Super Bowl and the Jets were in the shitter, and then the Jets were the best team in the world because they dismantled the Pats, who, oh by the way, beat the Bengals. What are we supposed to make of that? Oh, they played with the Seahawks. Well, that didn't mean anything. And then the Bucks, oh, they're world beaters. Commanders suck. No, they don't. They're good. And the Bucks got jobbed by the fucking Denver Broncos. So we don't know week to week what happened.
Let me ask you.
Didn't the Ravens lose to the fucking Raiders? Like you're acting like in any given Thursday.
Tap me in.
Okay, wait. Before you come in. Okay.
Yeah.
What record would you define as cooked?
When they're mathematically out of it.
Yes.
I bet Nate. I got you. Nate, I was on a 4-6 team. Okay, hold on. I was on a 4-6 team. We ended up a drop short of playing in the NFC Championship game. And I'm not going to act like the Saints guys who are like, well, we would have won it. Oh, we would have won. If the mini, I will fucking tackle the guy. Okay? Here's the deal. I think we could have played with whoever it was we played the next week. I'm not saying we would have won it. We were a 4-6 team. We could have played with whoever it was the next week. I'm just telling you, things change in the NFL. This isn't me holding on to they're the best team in the AFC North. I have changed my mind. And boy, am I wrong a lot preseason. Haven't been wrong a whole lot this year looking at divisions. But I'm looking at this team and I'm like, offensively, that's a division champion team. Defensively, it reminds me of one of the Saints teams back in the early 2000s or whatever it was when, ironically, they had a Italian defensive coordinator and it wasn't going real well, but we know Spags is the man. That was a blip on the radar screen. But they scored 800 points and they couldn't stop a fucking, anything. So that might be what this team ends up being. They might end up being 9-8. They might end up being 10-8 if they get hot. They might miss the playoffs. But chances are they're going to figure out enough things to be in the conversation into,
they
November
are currently about even money to make the playoffs.
So what are you saying?
Is this because you love Joe Burrow? You just think he's that good?
So now you're gaslighting me because I don't. I love Josh Allen. You're doing your thing. So do your thing. Go ahead. Empty the clip. Do your thing.
I'm just trying to understand it. I don't see.
This is a quarterback-driven league. It's coordinators if you don't have one, but it's quarterbacks as well. I'm not going to count Joe Burrow out, especially if this was in a vacuum. Okay? Mm-hmm. If this was the Chiefs and they started winning, hey, fuck, last year you'd probably be the guy to tell me the Chiefs were cooked. Hey, there's a trail of bodies behind me last year. Okay? Because I said the Chiefs weren't cooked.
They're never
okay, I'm not saying these guys are the Chiefs, but 2 weeks ago, they hung in there with those guys and probably had a chance to win that game. They made stupid mistakes. They're going to look at that game, the Commanders game, if we can just stop people. Now, I don't know what you have to do. Cam Taylor-Britt got torched the first fucking drive of the game, basically. They had to put in a new guy, okay? Like, they can't get pass rush from anybody. Trey Hendrickson leaves the game in a sling. I'm not saying it's not a burning building on defense, but let me tell you what's good. They didn't give up a sack for the first time in 3 years. Joe Burrow, every Sunday when he wakes up and his alarm clock goes off, he knows two things are going to happen that day. The sun's going to go down, and he's going to get sacked. like with certainty.
He was getting pressured by the Panthers. He was moving around in the pocket and creating good plays.
Because he's great in the pocket. But I'm telling you, Mims had a pretty clean game. Okay, that's who came in for Brown. They did a pretty good job up front, and they got this guy, a guy named All. He gives his all. This is tight end.
Eric All.
All Junior? Is he All Junior?
Yep, Eric All Jr.
He's All Junior.
All Junior.
This guy All Junior, he can Gesicki, they use him in certain ways. Higgins got going yesterday. Jamar Chase still Jamar Chase. So just don't tell me they're dead. There are ways that you can fix a defense. I don't know. That's what they pay Lou the big bucks for, and maybe they have to get a little active in doing something. But
all I'm saying is
that run defense will be an issue.
All I'm saying is a win is a win, but we shouldn't get too excited for a
no
win
one's too excited
versus the Panthers.
So here's the deal. No one got excited. Let's replay this back. No one got excited. You got excited because you took an opportunity to say the Bengals are cooked.
That's
so
just my
don't
opinion.
gaslight people here.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, so don't get excited.
Their schedule is not that tough, Nate. Like, okay, they play the Ravens coming up. Then
they're going to get
Giants,
thumped by the Ravens, maybe.
Then they have the Eagles.
How do the Eagles look? How do the Eagles look?
Eagles, yeah.
You think the Eagles are going to slow down this offense? You think they're not going to beat the Raiders? You're going to look up and they're going to be 500 in a couple weeks, and then I'm going to ask you, are they cooked? Just remember.
All right.
Okay?
Let's note that.
Yeah, note that. But don't come to me in December because they lose in January or something. Say they were cooked the whole time. What you are implying is they won't make the playoffs. All right? Okay, big fella? I got you, bro.
They ran the ball well. They Burrow spread the ball around nice. That touchdown from Jamar Chase was sick.
It was like terrible tackling. It was a great play, but it was terrible tackling. That's not a touchdown. That's not a real touchdown against a good team.
They need to learn how to. They need to learn how to.
Or
tackle.
a decent team. We all know that. If you play against a decent team, that's not a touchdown.
No one is saying.
That's all I'm saying.
No one is saying the defense is playing well. What is the point? What's the point you're making?
That's all I'm saying.
The point I'm making is the offense looks good and you can't kill these guys. It's not a hot take to say they're probably out of it but like Vegas doesn't think so. If you know more than Vegas, by all means. Okay? Anytime touchdowns, left and right. All right? Just because you hit on a couple anytime touchdowns doesn't mean you can beat the machine here. Fuck, dude. We got to get on the same side on something.
Yeah.
You know? Jesus.
Broncos.
Also, can we talk about the Panthers for a sec? The Panthers are not the same team that they were the first two games of the season, man. They look good. Andy Dalton looked good.
Yeah.
Like they played pretty well.
We can't glaze the Panthers one week and be like they just beat the Panthers. This is the NFL, dude. It's a tough league. You just keep looking at me without having any point other than they're cooked.
Played good.
So let me make a bet. $5,000. The Bengals make the playoffs. Shake my hand.
Nope.
I'll just keep my hand here through the entire Vikings breakdown, just in case you change your mind.
Nate, did you see the Jamar Chase after the game? One of the reporters asked him if he had his baby oil on in the locker room. Did you see that?
That reporter got to read the room, yeah.
Hey Kai, bro, don't try to make sense of what I'm saying. Worry about your thoughts, okay? You say it's not a hot take to say they'll miss the playoffs, but it's a hot take to call them cooked. It's not a hot take to say they're in trouble. It is a hot take to call them cooked. Whatever I said 5 minutes ago, that's what I mean. You can say they're in trouble. You can't say they're out of the playoffs. It's fucking September.
Yeah.
Put it out. Put your hand out. You don't want to bet?
Vikings, Packers.
Just let the record show. That Nate won't put his money where his mouth is because he's scared. All right, here we go.
Let's hit the Chiefs game first.
Oh, Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs beat the Chargers 17-10.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the injury to Rashee Rice.
The injury to Rashee Rice is a big deal. I mean, it is. But, again, we're going to go back to this thing. I mean, I think the Chiefs are cooked, huh? Now listen, it might be different because it's the Chiefs, and I don't think the Chiefs are cooked. I think the Chiefs are going to figure it out because they got a great coach, they got a great quarterback who's not playing great right now. I think when you look at this game, I come away with it and say, hey, Chiefs have work to do in a different way than last year. Like they're not last year's
Chris,
team.
let's say this though: they figure out how to win games, and that's so big.
That's a valuable thing in the NFL.
But that's Andy.
It's
I think.
stupid, but
I think
it's
that's
so
Andy.
true. they just win these games.
It is Andy and it's Spags.
Because we see so many other coaches make like stupid decisions at stupid decisions at
That
different times.
that play them out of games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we rarely see that happen with him, and he's always has them in a position to win. Like, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's key moments in the game where it's like understanding the script of the game when Patrick has trouble early, and it looks. I think he's forcing some things. Like, honestly, I felt like he came into the game and he was forcing. He hit Kelsey, and he's like, okay, I don't know if it's a this is what we do thing where it's like, hey, Travis, you haven't been getting the ball. We're gonna get it right today. Derwin James is out. Like, yada yada yada. But then the second throw in a sea of bodies is like a little much. And then when you get to third down and I'm looking at Watson and it's 3rd and 7 and he's just sitting down in the zone, like that's where you go with the ball. Or you go to Juju in the flat, but it's that extra pump. And I know there's a lot of people in that backfield because that front was doing a good job of rushing with power. But this was your kind of game. But I really think you come away from it and you say, hey, team was down. Derwin, tackles, quarterback on a high ankle. Nobody gave him a shot. Bosa. And you could say the same for the Chiefs, who are down Brown and now Rice. But I think what makes it hard for them is, in their own right, is like you can game plan the whole week. I'd rather lose Rashee Rice on Friday.
Yeah.
As much as that sucks to lose Rashee Rice during practice, like when you lose him in the first quarter, your whole game plan goes out the window. They're doing things with him that are like multi-positional. Like they're putting him in spots they used to put Kelsey in. They're getting him involved in the run game. So there is an adjustment. And when you're giving the ball to Crocky J,
Speaking of cooked.
Yeah, well, he's not cooked. They don't have it. Everything's not cooked.
I know, but you can't keep fumbling in the NFL.
This isn't Golden Corral.
I'm just saying, but you and me both know in the NFL, the one thing, if you're a ball handler, if you start fumbling, it's going to be hard for your coach to put you in the game.
But yet they have.
That's if you got Kareem Hunt coming back looking good.
And that's what I mean. That's a good point. But so are we going to not?
Before I lose the mic, Chris, someone in the chat asked if you're menopausal today or what.
I think that's your wife. I doubt you have one, but like, so here's the deal. No, I just, like, you want me animated. If I came in here, I was sleepwalking, you'd all be like, this show's so fucking boring. I'm giving you a little extra pizzazz on the Bengals. Me and Nate, we're doing what we do best. And you're telling me, I don't even know what that word means. Okay. All right. Here's the deal. The deal is when Crocky J, I thought you were an alligator wrestler. Hold on to the football. Hold on to the football. It's that simple. I think he's still going to get carries because they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You can't just give it to, like, Hunt looked good. He's got fresh legs. You called this. Hunt was going to look good. The biggest part of the game for me was you get the ball backed up and it's 10-10 late in the game. They ran the ball like 5 straight times to get out of trouble. They flipped the field with a punt from like their 35, and then LA goes 3 plays and punts it back. And what did they do? They picked up a chunk, and then they just ran the ball. And so to your point about Andy Reid and Hunt, like, they're going to do what they have to do to win. They don't care about style points, nothing. It ended up being a game.
It's winning football. Like, their O-line is good.
Yeah.
I know they're that rookie left tackle, and, like, Juwan James at right tackle has been penalized a lot historically. But, like, that's exactly what you're talking about, Chris. Is like, they're in all these games because they don't. I mean, Mahomes threw a bad pick, whatever. But, like, when it comes to crunch time, they don't make dumb mistakes and throw games away. You know what I mean? Like, that stat about Patrick Mahomes being, like, 11-0 when he's down by 10 points? That's ridiculous. Like, that's absurd. I don't know if you saw that, but to me, it's like they mentioned that at the broadcast. I'm like, this is such a perfect opportunity for him to just fucking win this game. And he ended up doing it. It's wild. They just have that, like, it factor where they figure out how to win these games and they do it.
It's the defense. The defense, when you're New England or something like that, and you're stringing together a couple years of this shit, where you find a way every year, you're a different team. Like, the defense is a really nice thing to be able to hang your hat on, and they've been able to do that. And it's like New England when they lost to us. They beat us if they figure out the defense that year, but they left that off the the team building recipe that year. They missed it. Part of the reason with Cincy that you might think they're cooked is the defense sucks. Okay? But this team, because they have Spags, is always going to be in the hunt. Because they have Chris Jones, is always going to be in the hunt. By the way, Wharton played his ass off. Yep. Guys like Wharton wrecking possession late in that game entirely. Second down, third down. Chris Jones with the game on the line. I didn't like the fourth down call from the Chargers, and part of that is like I don't know if you can roll Herbert out, but I like a run pass option with the quarterback down there. Chris Jones just wins. He's inevitable, and in those situations, whether it's Tranquil winning with an up and under, setting up, they're behind the sticks all day.
Yeah.
Look, like behind the sticks all day. In the first half, it's 3rd and 25, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 17. They come out of the half, they're 3rd and 14, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11. That is a credit to that defense as well,
But I like the Chargers, man. I love Justin Herbert. I think he's got like the toughness. I feel like that team, like he does a good job of like galvanizing that team. I think they're banged up, but I think the Chargers will be really good down the stretch. Like I like Dobbs. I feel like I don't know. They just like they should have won this game. They didn't. But I don't think that they're cooked, as some people might say.
No, that's what you come out of this game saying. Like the Chiefs are going to be fine. They'll figure out a way to be fine. They did it last year and they couldn't do anything right. They're just dealing with injuries right now. And they're trying to bring the young running back along, and they're bringing in Hunt, and they don't have cap space to go make a move.
Right.
What'd you say earlier?
It's like less than $5 million. They have in space. So.
Who was the running back that you were like?
I think Swift, who was perfect
Swift,
there.
who had a really
He
good day.
Awesome day yesterday in the receiving game. We saw that last year in Philly, just kind of being underutilized.
Yeah.
Like that part of his skill set.
We both like
Andy in the
Cooper.
screen game.
We both like Amari Cooper if you're looking at a wide receiver, but you're not going to be able to afford any of those people. So
his contract, they just changed everything to a signing bonus.
Oh, really?
Just today.
Well, maybe
go get Adam.
Yep.
Maybe he's a Chief. Because you can get some of the things on the perimeter done in the short game with him, like run after the catch stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would personally go wide receiver before I'd go running back because I think like that's what the league tells us.
Yep.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. If you weren't podding well for a few pods, if we all wore shirts with your face on it and your name, you think you would pod better? Did you see the guys wearing the Kelsey shirts before the game?
This line of questioning is cooked. I don't know. I don't have the
there were teammates that were wearing like Kelsey shirts.
I think they have fun. They have fun, dude.
But people were online were like, those look like rest in peace shirts.
Hey, and when does Kelsey and Swift break up? I heard it was September 26th. Anyways,
They're cooked, bro.
they're cooked.
Good week for the Chargers to have a bye.
The Chargers are going to be good, and that's like part of it is like looking at the Chargers. You talk about coming out of it and like certain teams that you're like, well, they could get active. I don't know that they'd want to get active like year one of Harbaugh's tenure because they're good enough to muddy it up with people, but that ball, that the throw and the catch and the relationship that Herbert and Lab McConkey are going to have, that play in the low red, of all the throws and catches I watched, like that elicited a huge response from me personally. I was like, wow, dude, that how did he fit that ball in there? And how did Ladd know to go back behind him?
Yep.
That's a big deal to hit on this guy to where like he's going to be a real pro for you at the very least. Now it's like, how do we fortify him? Because Greg Roman
could be like for Stafford, you know what I mean? Like coming in and have a great rookie year, great connection. Yeah. Like he's gonna have a productive year, man.
Yeah, no question. No question. But the point I'm making is, this offense can keep people on their heels. That first drive is a perfect example of that. It's like they're going, they're going screen, they're going tempo, they're going, all sorts of stuff. They were on top of it the first drive, and like what it does is it just puts without putting Justin Herbert in harm's way. So like that's imagine when they can start using him fully and staying out of these 3rd and 14s and 3rd and 17s.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to get better. I mean, it's easy to forget that Herbert missed a lot of time during camp with the plantar fascia issue. So they'll just keep improving. They'll get healthy, and the defense played great too.
No question.
If you are the Chargers,
before we move on though.
Go ahead. Go.
I was just gonna say before we move on, we gotta talk about that deep ball from Mahomes to Worthy. Those fucking 63 yards in the air.
And
it's a video game throw. It's a video game throw. It's a video game catch.
And what a big opportunity now for Worthy, to step up, because we're all talking about them going out to get a receiver, and even though you're a rookie, now you probably take over those plays that were designed for Rice. You're fast enough to do anything and everything they probably can ask you to do, and it's just about like if you can handle all of it. Like, it's hard for a rookie. It's been a long year, but it's a great opportunity for him, and it was good to see him catch that touchdown. And that's kind of like what everyone wants to see from the fastest guy. If you pick up the fastest guy,
you want it to
in the
actually
draft,
like pay off.
Exactly.
Like, let me see you actually.
Even
like,
if that's the only time we see it, but it's just like you're like, okay, now we understand it and we see it in actually happening.
But you can run reverse with him in the whole thing.
Everything.
Yeah, you got to think Andy Reid's going to come up
game.
with that all the creative stuff for him,
like they do for Reed and Green Bay and all that. So like all those plays, it'll be fun to see it all happen.
People are asking about the Eagles, which means that we probably got to get to the NFC soon. We can save the Jags for like maybe before the rock fights, because we can give you a little information on the Texans too. Because the Texans, hey, I'll just say this because most of that's going to be about the Jags. Texans are having a little trouble like pulling away from teams. They're making some things look hard. Part of that's no Mixon, but part of that is like, you know, I look at it like you didn't have Mixon last year. They should be a lot better than they are right now. And I watched back yesterday, and I'm almost through it, but CJ looked like CJ. You know, like I was waiting to see him make some bad throws. I know maybe later in the game he did, you said, but I look at him and I'm like, there's no quarterback problem here.
Right.
You know, they'll figure some things out. We'll talk about the Jags being on the blunt end of that one in a little bit. As you guys know, we've teamed up with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for you listeners each week. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Number one, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code GREENLIGHT. 2, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. 3, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code GREENLIGHT when you sign up. All right, so here's the deal. I think the Vikings are for real.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's early enough. I think there's enough evidence.
Cooking.
They're cooking.
Yeah, they're cooking.
They're cooking.
Definitely not cooked.
They're not cooked.
Not cooked.
So I look at these guys and I don't know, man. There's something special going on there. There really is.
Yeah. Hey, Kris, you remember like halfway through that season in Philly, and we're like, you just feel like things are just going right. Like we're good. Like our players are making plays. Like you just feel like everything's kind of happening the right way. That's what's been going on for the Vikings so far.
Yeah.
They're just good.
They're very good. They're very well. But again, you see two great coordinators. You know, you see drafted players. You see free agents working out. Like everybody on defense that they signed has worked out. They got the best wide receiver in the game. The guy is like, every time he takes the field, we should be thankful to get to watch him play. I think he's that good. I think he's that good of a teammate. You saw him blocking for Addison on the jet sweep. Like you saw how hyped he gets when other people make plays. You know, here's what happened. I'm gonna tell you what happened. And the Vikings up front, they're really good. So it goes without saying they lean on those guys up front early in the game to like stabilize the game, right? You know, you go in there on the road, you got to run the football. They did that. Darisaw, O'Neal, studs, drive starters. But the minute Alexander was a scratch, it was like blood in the water. It really was. And I'm convinced they took the field and they were like, we're going to light these motherfuckers up. Like, it just is what it is today. And, you know, like, if they took away Jefferson, they went to Naylor. You know, you took away Jefferson with a double team, they're going to run Naylor across the field, and good luck. Justin Jefferson calls him speedy. Like he told us about him in training camp, and, you know, it's 3rd and 14. You're taking Stokes. They're taking shots at him. You know, took a shot at him, including that second drive at the pylon. They went at Valentine. Addison on the double move. You know, that ball that put them up 28-0, like, there's nothing you can do with that as a defender. There's nothing you can do with the throw or the catch. It's mostly the catch.
Yep.
But the confidence to put the ball there, like cut your sideburn, trim your sideburn a little bit with that ball, it's like there's nothing you can do about it. And so, like, when Rashawn Gary goes over and asks them, per whoever the sideline reporter is, hey, Rashawn Gary is over on the sideline making sure these DBs are locked in. I'm like, yeah, they're locked in. They can't leave the stadium. Like they have locked the gates on these guys, and the loneliest position in football, at corner in the NFL, can just be a nightmare if things aren't right and you're playing a team like this. So this team's going to get Addison back. They got Addison back. He looked awesome. They're going to get Hawkinson back. This is a different game with Alexander playing. Yes, it's a different game if you pick Darnold off the first drive, right? Darnold, I've talked about having these moments. There were moments where you're like, he could give you the game. If you look at the first couple weeks, he's got a bunch of brilliant plays, and maybe that one play you want to avoid, but who doesn't lately? But when you go on the road and you throw the ball right to a linebacker, like that linebacker's got to catch the ball.
Got to.
So taking advantage of those opportunities. Also, Wicks drops the ball in the red zone. Like, it's not a perfect throw, but you got to have that. And so, like, when you're playing a team like this, we're going to get into the Eagles playing the Bucs. Not saying the Bucs or the Vikings, but when you're playing on the road and the script goes this way and you fuck up early in the game offensively, you don't have a chance. And, like, they missed their opportunities in the red zone. They missed a field goal. And then missing that pick was a big deal. But Jordan Love ultimately wasn't ready. Not to play Monday morning QB, but we did talk about this last week. It's not necessarily a net positive if he plays, because he's going to be rusty, and he looked rusty week 1. I swore we saw something pop in his knee a month ago. It's amazing he's out there, and it says a lot about him, but those balls were all over the place.
That's a tough defense to come back to, Chris. I mean, we talked about that a little bit. Like,
he got balls on the brain.
You're coming off injury
by you today, huh?
Nate only cares about one thing.
Yeah.
What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, it's interesting that they played Jordan Love, right? You got to think that they're like trying to look to the future with that, like look further down the schedule for this season. But it's kind of interesting to me because like you're playing well, you're getting grubby, gritty wins with Malik Willis.
Yeah,
obviously big divisional opponent coming into town. And you're putting him up against a defense that's absolutely rolling. I think one thing I'm curious to see is how, like, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets play against the Vikings defense, because he's played against Flores a ton, whether it was when he was in Miami or New England.
Yeah.
And I think that Flores' defenses are a little different against a vet QB like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
They don't see as many ghosts.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. And there's fewer and far between older quarterbacks now that, like, have seen it all, like a lot of young guys. So this definitely works to heat people up and just say, hey, like, see if you can stop it. I mean, it did it to CJ last week, and CJ's really good against the blitz. It did it anyways.
And this is an interesting stat about the Vikings. They have only trailed for just under 3 minutes the entire season. So their defense has yet to really play from behind. So I wonder if they get into a situation like that, they go down maybe 1 or 2 scores early, how that bodes for that defense.
How do they respond?
If guys are just, hey, we're gonna run the ball down your throat now.
I think they're ready. I think they're ready. Last week I had some doubts, but like, I don't know, yesterday I turned the game off at 28-0 because there's so many damn games on. So whatever happened after that, I don't know for sure. But I am saying, like, when you come into somebody's stadium and hit them with a flurry like that, like, the whole league should take notice. I mean, they really this team is real. I'm not saying they're the best team in the league. Like I said, they were the best team in the NFC right now, because if the playoffs started today, they are. You can't tell me San Francisco's better. They just beat them. And San Francisco's down guys. Come January.
So if the playoffs started today, the Bengals are cooked.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Keep going.
But they don't.
4 games into the season.
Hey.
Okay. I know.
Are you hurt after moving the goalpost like that? Like, is your back sore?
I just heard you say that. And I just want
you are you in the chat are like this though. It really
I can't even see the chat. That's the beautiful thing
him and the
about
chat are like this.
That's
it really is. There's
thing.
a kinship between him and the chat that I think that's what drives me crazy. It's like I'm outnumbered by people who aren't thinking about this in a way that's like fair. First, they're cooked. We have an extra game. They've made the playoffs with 16 games starting like shit in September. Anyways, I'm just not going to get up here and say things I don't believe. I'm not going to say things but one thing I might believe is that Minnesota, if the playoffs started today, are the best team in the NFC. And I can't say enough about this damn coach and the coordinator. And fuck, man, good for
Chris. You know what I mean? Where you're playing,
they're playing complementary football, which a lot of teams right now aren't doing yet, and that goes like a long way. Because when your defense humming, and then you can score points, or if your offense isn't humming, and you could, as a defense, can be like, hey, we're gonna flip the field for you, we're gonna get the ball back, or make them punt. It goes a long way.
Yeah, no question. They've got a good thing going. It's going to be fun to watch them. It is September, but boy, do they look good. And Justin Jefferson is one of my favorite players in the league. After we got to meet him at the training camp, he was the nicest guy in the world.
Best new touchdown dance like ever, and every time he does it,
what is the new one?
It just looks so cool.
What are you talking about? The gritty?
He caught that ball.
I'm just saying, like, new to football.
No, the way he did it though was so sick.
So swaggy.
He spun the ball while he was looking at the defender, like shit talking him. Sick ball spin.
He has a lot of different iterations of it.
And then right into the gritty, bro. It was awesome.
Yeah,
dude, I'll gritty in front of my kids and they just boo me. But little do they know, they're terrible at it. What I'm trying to do is look stupid so they'll stop doing it, because I don't want them to embarrass themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First it was white kids dabbing, and now it's white kids doing this all the time, and I'm like, it's just some things it's not your thing, bro. Like, leave it to the professionals.
Right.
So anyways, it is that time in the show now where we rip the Band-Aid off. Are y'all ready? Eagles fans, are y'all ready?
I got a lot to say about this.
We can skip this part.
No, good. Here's what I personally have to say. Like, if the Eagles were a college football team, I would stop accepting money to play in Tampa. Like, this has become a house of horrors. Like, we are like Sanford. Sorry, Cortland Finnegan, accepting a bag to go down to Tuscaloosa. Now, I know we don't make the schedule, but damn, if we might as well. It'd be better if the team stayed home. It really would, because like the bad feeling coming off a game like this, the narratives that are popping up, and people can listen. I understand big market, quarterback on the docket, coach on the docket. Like, this is going to be messy talking about this stuff. And I know I played there, but I'm going to talk as honestly as I can, because being popular in that building, I love the people in that building, and they can turn it around. But this isn't even close, like, from the coach and then the quarterback, okay? And I know the defense isn't great. That frames the context of this entire conversation, because when your defense is not great and you go on the road and you play a team that's going to get the matchup, Nolan Smith on Chris Godwin or C.J. Gardner-Johnson on Mike Evans down in the red zone. By the way, Liam Cohen watches tape. He watched that bunch bump down in that little stack down there in the red zone where they hit Drake London in a different way, but they got there with the same mechanism. And they get the matchups, and they jump you. And in the second quarter, you got 0 yards, and you're missing opportunities. I understand that this is not fair to Jalen Hurts. It's not fair to the offense to lose A.J. Brown, to lose Devontae Smith. It's not fair to lose Lane Johnson. But you just did this last week. Once you show me you're capable of it, and that's the terrible thing is, like, last week they made a lot of mistakes that they won in spite of. I guess they thought they'd go on the road and do the same thing and win. You ain't that good. You're not good enough to do this stuff. You're not good enough to miss Saquon Barkley. The very first play, you're down 7-0. Very first play from scrimmage. And listen, I know people want to hear about the coach and the quarterback, so I'm going to tell you what I think. Do I think Jalen Hurts is the guy? Yes, Jalen Hurts is the guy, but not every guy is the same in the NFL. And when you're getting outdueled by Baker, and I think Baker's a good quarterback, but who's turning that game off yesterday and saying, even with the injuries, can you confidently say Jalen's better than Baker? And I love Baker. I can love Jalen too. I loved him in 22. I think he's had some really great moments. This isn't me overreacting to 4 games. This is now 11 games or so. So I held my tongue the second half of last season because I want to give him the same treatment that I've given other quarterbacks, like Josh Allen, like like Burrow, like guys that have been to the damn Super Bowl and been where he's been. But with the opportunities that you have, and they're going to be fewer in games like this, when you go on the road, you have to hit them. So, yeah, the defense sucked. We know that. You know, you're down 2 guys outside. We know that. But are you going down there to try to win the game? Because last time I checked, you can do this. You can beat this team. You did it last week down guys. The first play of the game, when Saquon's on Joe Tryon Shoyinka and the down gets extended and Joe's facing Jalen Hurts, like he's lost Saquon, that's got to be 6. There are blue chip quarterbacks in the league that make you pay for that.
Right.
And that's my only thing is like either we need to stop having this conversation about like he's beyond reproach, or you got to put into context who he might really be and we have to work around it because there's a lot of guys that aren't perfect in the league you can win with. You can win with Jalen Hurts. He's done it. But you can't come in with that fucking game script. You can't come in there and not hand Saquon the ball. You can't come in there and be not on your details. You can't come in there and miss the opportunities. When you're down 30-16 and you have an opportunity to make it a one-score game despite everything you've done, you can't pat the ball back there like you're baking a cake, especially when the blitzer, he didn't come from over here. He came right up the middle. Saquon got a face full of him, and he got pushed right by you. Where do you think he's going to be next? On your throwing arm. So, like, I've said this all year. The mistakes from him happen late in the down, right?
Yep.
So be decisive. We looked at the interceptions. Most of them are over 3 seconds. And
the McKinney interception week 1, 3.5. Jair interception 5 seconds. You go to week 2, Bates 3.5 seconds. The Tyrann Mathieu interception happened a little quicker, 2.5 seconds, more of a bad decision. But then, the Granderson strip sack last week, 6.5 seconds. And then you mentioned David, that was 4.5 seconds.
Dude, and I feel like everybody's we're all so, I don't want to criticize Jalen because Jalen's a fantastic player. He's done some amazing things. Like, I was never an MVP candidate, so don't get me fucked up and thinking, this is me as a fan, as an analyst. And as a fan of the team, I watched the games and it's not perfect and you kind of got set up to fail yesterday with some of the injuries, but at least be close. At least keep the game close. At least figure out a way. If you're going to make a mistake, make it in a way that we can all live with. I can't live with missing those opportunities. I can't live with the defense. I can't live with the tackling. 11 missed tackles. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not going to put it all on the D-line. They can't fix the fact that they're not a special group. Okay, there's one guy that I think needs to win his matchups in Jalen Carter. Mm-hmm. Okay, the other guys, you kind of know what you're going to get at this point. So, if I look at anything, it's like Vic maybe has to do something to play tighter coverage because these guys are not getting there, but also the game was all perimeter, quick game. Find the matchup, get it out on the perimeter. So I don't know who to blame, Beau. There's blame everywhere, but when the coach and the QB aren't perfect in a spot like this, you're not going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for us to talk about the Eagles. We are Eagles homers. We won a Super Bowl with the fucking Eagles. We love the Eagles. But I did a Bucs show this morning with the Bucs media department with Cam Bray. We talked about this game a lot. I had to say, the Bucs came out ready to play it. Their first 15, I love the way they did it. They knew that they were going to have a bad matchup on the inside with the interior of the Bucs O-line and Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. They came out and threw the ball quick. Baker was getting the ball out of his hand, and their perimeter run game in the first quarter, it was just quick passes, and they did a really good job of getting their guys going early. Mike Evans, who is unbelievable. I think he just took over the all-time points leader for the Bucs organization, and they had a really good plan coming out in the first quarter. Their first 15 drove right down the field, scored right away. So hats off to them for their first 15. But then the Eagles did not respond at all by going they should have gone to their number one playmaker, who has been carrying the team through the first couple games. To go 3 and out 2 or 3 times in the first quarter, and then you're behind, you know what I mean, to this Bucs team.
You're down 24-0 at one point.
You're not in a position to win when you don't have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You're not going to win like that. You know what I mean? And so it's just it's very frustrating. I think Eagles fans, rightfully so, are frustrated. But Kris, you know what this game reminded me of? After I signed in Tampa after the Super Bowl, the Eagles came down in 2018, and it was hot as hell. And we did not have a good Bucs team.
Nope.
Bucs team this year is good, a lot better than we were in 2018. And we ended up beating the Eagles just based on heat, things like that. they talked about the heat a lot in the broadcast. I legitimately think it was a factor. Like, the defense was on the field so much in the first half. I think the time of possession was like 20 minutes to 10 minutes, and the defense was absolutely gassed.
And that's the problem.
So that's why the Bucs were able to run the ball at the end of the game.
But
the Bucs should never be able to run the ball on the Eagles.
And Bucky Irving is a real revelation for them. That guy must weigh 250. He's listed at 180, but like that's crazy because he runs like he's a grown man. And to my point earlier, like I don't think Nick's doing a great job. I don't. It's just point blank, especially when your job, and I like Nick. I'll say this over and over again, like I'm not discounting. He's had a really good winning percentage. He got this team to the Super Bowl. But since Shane left, it's been hard to I have not seen the quarterback look the same way. So there's culpability there because every quarterback should be every quarterback should be supported in the NFL. Like there's only a couple guys that I'm like, hey, come on, you got to make this work. I'm not putting it all on Jalen. But what I'd like to get away from in this fan base is that every time you talk about a quarterback, it's like politics. That's not what it is. We all want this team to improve. This team can improve. He can be the guy. He's shown that. But he has to play better. And you can say it's unfair. It's unfair to have your guys down and be down 30-16 and all this stuff. But you got 0 yards in the second quarter. What's funny?
Someone's saying that Jalen Hurts equals Jameis Winston.
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't. And that's the problem with this whole quarterback thing is like either the guy's a bum or he's an MVP. If I'd have said Jalen Hurts wasn't a top 5 quarterback last year, and I did say that, then people lose their minds about that. You can win with 10. You can win with number 8. You can win with number 11. This guy also used to be an electric runner with his legs, and I do think he's got a little bit of the piano on his back look. And I don't know if he's healthy. I'm trying to give him the whole breakdown can't be about Jalen though. It's a hot button issue because it's more the way the conversation persists. It's like I see it online. I'm like, I don't even want to get in this conversation because people think that if you're saying he has to play better, that you want him benched, he's not the guy, and a lot of worse things. Okay, that's not what it is. This guy can play football. He's made some great plays in his career. The table's got to be set right for him. And the game plan has to be set right. When you have 0 yards in the second quarter, you start out 3 and out, you're going to lose that game.
That's what's so interesting to me, Chris. Like, okay, the Eagles got an emotional win over the Saints on the road. Like, shit-talking, celebrating, battled through different injuries. They got a great win, like, in the final hour. And then how do you follow that performance up and come out so flat? That's what I was so interested in. It's like the Eagles came out in the first quarter and it just did not seem – I don't know.
This team is a bad matchup for you. This team is a bad matchup for you. They're a good team. You have to know that coming in. They got guys that they can find their matchups and win them. Mike Evans had to go get an IV. He was beating our guys so bad. Like they were like, go to the locker room early because you have been just running circles around these guys. But you know how playing in this situation is. I thought about 2018, Beau. I thought about the 2 playoff games. I thought about a lot of stuff in playing this team. It's like, yeah, it's a bad matchup for the defense, but that does not excuse not trying to give yourself a chance through the run game, through the quarterback hitting his opportunities, through hitting Goddard. Goddard's got to catch that ball. I don't know, the second P10, the first play of a possession, the second first possession play, or the second, the first play of the second possession. Okay?
Yeah.
Like there were 2 explosives that could have started your drives off and you missed them. And I know it's unfair to like say, hey, reduce the whole thing to those 2 plays, but in the NFL, sometimes it's a reality. You can look back at a couple plays in the first quarter and say, if you don't hit these plays, especially the way the defense is playing, it's going to be, and you can't rely on a defense that's been really good in the red zone to bail you out like they have in 107-degree weather when they can't get off the field. And there were a lot of excruciating third downs. So are they cooked? No, not cooked. This is good. This is a segment now.
Yep.
They're not cooked. They're sushi.
They're not cooked.
They're sushi.
They're sashimi. Like they just need to get their guys back, and they have to get better play out of the quarterback, and the defense has to figure a lot of stuff out.
Great time.
And Saquon Barkley can't touch the ball 12 times.
Great time for them to have a bye week. But what's the best way you think for them, like, to utilize this bye week coming up?
Confidence. That's what I think. I feel like the team was lacking confidence on Sunday, and we're not going to their playmakers, kind of overthinking things a little bit. That is my personal opinion. They came out, they didn't quite seem ready to play to me, which is frustrating. And I feel like they just need to stick to the plan. Just ride Saquon until you get some health back. That's really, I don't know. That's my opinion.
Ben Marshall, I picked you guys. He asked anybody going to talk about what Tampa did good instead of just harping on the Eagles. Dude, we picked you to win the NFC South. We've glazed you every week. You want me to talk about the Bucs? Man, no. I mean, like, we just talked about how good Bucky Irving's been. We talked about the offensive line, just patchwork, getting it together, like with those injuries.
The Bucs defense did get to Jayden. I think they had 6 sacks.
That was
something like that.
That was something you just come on.
Winning games and having fun.
Getting Vita back was big for the Bucs on defense. Like, he'd been injured. He played really well in the back half of the Detroit game. He missed last week. He had a really nice sack on Jayden. He was a problem for like landing in a low red zone. He like crossed Jurgen's face, made a nice stop. Like, the Bucs did play well, but I think the Eagles just completely underperformed, and that's why we've been fucking going over it.
Well, it's why we're going over. It's why the next breakdown is so important. And just for the people in chat who are pointing out that like the Eagles might not be able to beat the Commanders, I told you that last week. Okay, so don't told you so on me. I'm telling you, this team here, the Commanders, is pretty good, and the Bucs deserve a lot of credit. We should talk about what I like about the Bucs is they're so ambitious. Like, with Baker, you would have thought, oh, they're going to manage things, like, even though it's not really his strong suit to be like a manager. Like, he really is a guy that takes chances. They take chances. Cohen's done a great job. And to your point, getting the sacks, I mean, like, that was not what I expected coming in this game. The Baker and Brady moment, can we hit that before we get to the Commanders? And then people will tell us we're wrong about the Commanders.
Yeah. It was, dude, Brady had such a bone to pick about Baker's podcast interview, and it's hilarious to me that the best NFL football player of all time reads all the bulletin board material still, and like was saying the funniest like sneak dissing Baker's throws. He's like, I can't believe a quarterback would try to fit that one in there. Like, that's a really ambitious throw. When like Baker had a great throw like on a cloud like corner, you know what I mean? And another one where like Baker. He's like, yeah,
it should be a little earlier.
Ball. Yeah, exactly. Like, it just felt like he just was so ready to be hypercritical of Baker Mayfield, who was playing out of his mind.
It was funny to me because, like, I think they're both right. I think Baker's right, and I want to be careful about this, like, because there still seems to be a myth that persists that I came out of New England and went to the media and said it's not fun there. You know what was not fun about New England? Being stuck in a 3 technique. I'd tell Bill that next week at Inside the NFL. In fact, I will. Just so he knows that I thought it was a lot of fun, but but people, this whole like New England's not fun thing carried down to Tampa Bay. And this is the thing I never understand is like New England and Boston and Tom and Bill take pride in it not being fun. Like, that's like part of the persona up there was like, it's not fun. You come up, and then when guys say it's not fun, even though I never said that, Lane said it. Okay? Lane said it on Pardon My Take, and I got blamed for it. As if he doesn't know anybody else that's ever played in New England. He couldn't have got that intel from anybody. Ask a fan. Okay? It's not fun up here. You don't come up here to have fun. Tom brought that down to Tampa a little bit because that was an organization that wasn't used to his way of doing things. So, yeah, was he a hard ass? Probably. But I play with Tom. Tom is fucking fun. He's cool. Now, maybe some of the guys down there were dealing with like the shock of having to deal with that way of doing things, and maybe Bruce wasn't real fun either at times. But Baker is literally answering a question and maybe taking a little bit of a shot, but I think more than anything answering a question and saying like, they want me to be this guy. You know, they want me to come in and have fun. He was told that.
And that's what I'm saying. What if the organization
but
did
Tom's
say that?
Right too.
But what if the organization did say that to Baker, like, and he's just, yeah, it's one thing for him to be saying it, but like, it's like, Tom, like, take shots at the organization. Say something about the front office if they really said that to Baker, because it's just, hey, if they said that to me and that's what I'm coming in here to do,
yeah,
and I speak on it.
They didn't tell Baker to take any shots, man. Baker just didn't think that those
he didn't think
comments
it through.
He was going to make were going to get taken so seriously by Tom.
That's and you know what? And I think they teed it up for Tom, and this was one of Tom's strongest points in the booth so far was the way he responded. He goes, I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings. This wasn't a daycare. And it wasn't even like he was like dunking on him. It was just like, I don't care who you are. That's the way I do things, and no apologies.
Yeah.
And then, later in the game, he's bigging up Baker for having fun and looking like he's playing good quarterback, which he is. And so, yeah, like no harm, no foul. I thought it was a really fun moment where Baker showed who he is. He likes to have fun, and he doesn't give a shit. And Tom doesn't like to have fun, and he doesn't give a shit. And they're both right because teams have won Super Bowls in all different ways.
Will they try to give Tom more games where Tampa's playing now because of this?
If they end up good, you're going to see like Tom in a lot of those spots. That's a really good point. Really, because I would love to see Tom in more of these spots. And Tom shouted me and my brother out yesterday.
Yep.
I heard that.
I'm sitting there
He
watching
really
up on the
fit that
couch.
one in there. He's
Yeah.
towing the Fox company line, man.
He is. That's what I'm saying. But good for him. Thank you for knowing who butters his bread on this show. We've been talking
we
about
know
how
that he
great
looks
is.
at all the media stuff, so let's make sure we say nice things about him here today.
Legacy media here. All right.
Want to talk about the NFC leading Commanders?
Yeah, I do. I really want to talk about this game because it feels like one of these things where no matter how good you say the guy is, a lot of fans don't really understand it. And I'm seeing that like from last week.
Not good enough to go see in person, though.
Whatever. I'm not going to that stadium. I don't want to get tetanus. I can watch
I
him.
never want to go to that stadium again.
Yeah, we can go to Philly and watch him.
What
but
if he agreed to give you an exclusive interview if you come see him
I will
play?
go. If
Oh.
Jayden Daniels will give me an exclusive interview, I will go, Bear Grylls. I'll be the football Bear Grylls and go survive that stadium. Seriously, that stadium's such a piece of shit. It's crazy. It's insane to me that they have so many highly Imagine if you had, you have assets as a company. These assets, your most expensive assets, you're going to put them in like a building that doesn't meet code. Like they're going to spend all their time earning you revenue in a building that doesn't make code.
Hey, give it some time.
Guaranteed there are rats the size of
Magic Johnson just took
Cowboy
over.
Reed in that building.
Magic Johnson and his crew just took over. Give us some time. They got the
No,
good quarterback.
dude,
The money's coming in now, guys. The jerseys are selling. The money's coming in. We should see a change.
They're not going to
very
put that
quickly.
money back into the players' Facts. That money's going straight to the new owner's pockets.
I would rather. Yeah. There's a lot of things I would rather do than like spend time in that stadium.
But this
Because
kid is awesome,
you're
though.
enabling that field by showing up to it.
But
Do
we
not
would see
enable
this-
that
but
field.
we
There
would
needs to
see
be an
this
intervention.
kid- we have to see this kid early before it's too late, bro.
What do you mean it's too late? It'll
Like,
be even better when like everybody knows he's awesome.
No, it's
Zach's
better
trying to
see
tell
it
us that it's cooked or
now.
what?
It's better. To
It's a
see it
complicated
now.
thing because I'm obviously not allowed to enjoy this kid too much because of the Eagles thing. But I'm not. Listen, I just did the thing where I said out loud that like Jalen's not playing well, and I tried to make it as clear as I could. That's one thing, okay? And now the other thing is you've got to deal with me enjoying watching this kid play, and I'm going to enjoy watching him play his whole career. Two times a year, not going to enjoy it so much, but I can't hate this kid. This kid can be really special. The first thing I want to point out is, and I said this last week, I said he's playing the best quarterback in the division. So, like if you disagree, you're holding on to something. And if you don't think he's that good, you need to watch the games, okay? The hangover effect of playing the Lions is real, this year at least. 3 teams have been run out of the building the week after they played the Lions. And it took me 2 weeks to catch on to it, caught on to it yesterday. The Campbell hangover is real. The first one was the Rams. The next week they got throttled by this team. Then it was Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay got throttled by God's team, Reed. And then yesterday, the Cardinals got run on for 200-plus yards. You don't have Austin Eckler. You run the ball. So shout out to the big fellas, first off. The supporting cast, I think we all did them a disservice by making Chicago, the best rookie situation ever. And we were just right here in our nation's capital. It was like they were putting together a really good soft landing spot for this kid who probably doesn't fucking need it. Okay? I just want to say this. He had a Doug Williams shirt on in pregame, and then the night ends for him with a hug, on the sideline postgame. That's pretty damn cool. If you're a Washington fan,
Fire.
You know, it's also like a historic thing where it's like, man, like of all the quarterbacks that couldn't pull the sword from the stone here, like maybe you're the guy. And Doug's got to be really proud. And I think, you know, this kid seems like a student of the game, an appreciator of the game. And I thought that was really cool. The bottom line is Washington is number 2 in the league. I'm watching this tape and I'm like, they never feel like they're behind the sticks. What is it about this team where they never feel like they're behind the sticks? Bo, they're number 2 in the league on second down in EPA. They're number 1 in the league on third down by a margin. Okay, hold on.
He's not missing any throws.
I understand that. The Texans are number 2. Their EPA is up in the 0.7s. Okay? The Texans are number 2 at 0.289 on third down. That's the difference between the best offense in the league and the Giants. You know what I mean? Just to put that into perspective, in that scenario, that's how good they are right now. 8.3 yards per play. And I know they played the Cardinals.
Big up to Cliff.
And I know they played the Bengals. But the way this guy is throwing the football, it's not just about finding the open guy. 82% completion rate through 4 games. If I woke up today and hadn't seen him play, I might say he's Bo Nix. He must be a check down merchant. He does not manage the game. He makes that throw on third down against the Bengals. That looked natural to him. These plays look like he can do the plus stuff and the easy stuff. That's why they're dangerous. Brian Robinson's a man. They had Jeremy McNichols go for 70 yards. No idea who that is. Like, quarterback makes everybody better.
Yep.
And that's what he's doing right now. And for holy shit, for Cliff Kingsbury,
shout out to Cliff.
a month in, that's how long it took for him to get the "you're good enough for Detroit" treatment. You know what I mean? When they did that with Jared last year when he beat LA, right? Like, you beat your old quarterback that everybody said you were trash because you couldn't fix Kyler Murray, and you weren't a head coach. Well, you're good enough for us. Dan Quinn going to give you the game ball. Dan Quinn, by the way, so damn likable. The only reason I didn't go play for the Falcons in 2016 was the traffic in Atlanta, and he wanted to put me in a 4-eye. Little did I know Bill was going to put me in a 3, which is even worse. And the traffic in Boston sucks, but we got a ring. So I want to shout this team out. There's guys like Dorrance Armstrong who are doing a great job. Like, that's a guy that Dan intentionally pulls from Dallas. They bring in Zach Ertz. They draft McCaffrey. He's had big plays. Right, the whole thing, man. Something special's brewing here. They're not going to be – I don't know if they can win a damn playoff game this year. I don't know. Again, it's September, but it looks like it.
That's hate.
I can't break anything down with you. Everything's like a TikTok thing with you.
What's crazy is
it's hate. It's cooked.
You look at
50.
them,
I don't know what the fuck any of that means.
You look at them a year ago being sellers of the deadline. Sold both Chase Young and Sweat. With the play of the quarterback and the way they've turned this around, the moves they've made, now all of a sudden you're like, should they add a rusher?
Maybe they should, like, sooner than you think.
Right.
But those guys are actually playing pretty well.
Yeah,
like they're scrapping it together.
That's coaching. But that's coaching.
They had their best pass rush of the season. They had pressured Kyler on 10 of 29 dropbacks.
Coach is supposed to get everything you can out of your players, and this seems like a team that, like, on defense, like, you look across the board, it's guys you really might not know, not household names, but if you have a quarterback that can give you some rest, keep you off the field, and you guys can go out there and actually compete, like, it makes a big difference.
No question, man. It gives you confidence. It feels like all the guys, imagine being, well, I'll get to that later in mentions, but, like, imagine being a vet and being like, I'm signing with Washington. Who knows what they're going to do? Like, this is me getting a check. Like, they need Frankie Louvu or, who's been really good for them.
Yep.
He's a dog.
He's a dog. But, like, imagine showing up and being like, oh, they're going to draft the kid from LSU, not the Caleb Williams kid. Okay, well, tape looks pretty good. Then he shows up, and I got a text from Ertz before the season. It was like, he's going to be so good so fast.
And it's something that everyone starts buying in. This is probably the week you start realizing, or a few weeks. Guys in the locker room, you realize it quicker than everyone else, but you start being like, oh, if we fucking buy in, like, we got a chance now. Like, we're not just like some rollover team. Like, we got a chance to be in it.
No question. The punter needs to get a fucking job because he doesn't even have to go out there. It's like, it's ridiculous. Somebody just reminded me in the chat, they haven't punted in 2-3 games.
And think about mentally, like we're saying, like 2-3 months.
Once.
What? Oh, once in 3 games. And that's someone, think about mentally for him. He's a guy that's probably thinking like, damn, we got a rookie quarterback. I'm probably going to be punting 5-6 times.
Yeah, I'm getting off. You better make sure you're
real.
Yeah.
And
He's
now
got 4
The real
punts in
Caleb
4
Williams
games.
punter conversation.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the one that should have happened in Washington.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
funny.
You're not going to be punting much.
Listen, this group deserves a lot of credit. Dan deserves a lot of credit. A lot of people wrote him off after his last stop, but boy, is there nothing that helps more than drafting the next damn good quarterback. I know it's early, but for him to not be good, I think we'd look. For those of you who are like, yeah, I want to see more. Okay, I'm just telling you, if he doesn't end up being a damn good quarterback in this league, then they need to investigate what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because this guy is.
Yes.
This guy looks like a grown man
That's
out
happened
there.
before in Washington with good young quarterbacks. I mean, look at RG3. Obviously,
Bro, run that tape.
Different
I
year.
played RG3 early in his career. What is happening here is different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
'cause he's a
RG3 had a
pattern.
really good career ahead of him.
right.
This guy here's a guy that he could define a division. The way this thing's been
Right.
passed back and forth, you got a guy like this that could define the division, over the next 10
I do
years.
think, though, Chris, like, he's going to come back down to earth at some point.
I'm
It
sure
happens
he's
to
gonna
every
play a
young
better
player in the
team.
NFL.
But
I think in 2
ultimately-
weeks against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Maybe
like,
so.
I mean,
Yeah, he'll come down, but
But-
And then
ultimately,
Nate will
that's
say
not
he's
the-
cooked.
no, I won't. But ultimately, I feel like he's a franchise changer. He's a franchise changer, and if he keeps playing well and he stays healthy,
agree.
it's good for the franchise.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to see a franchise be fucking terrible all the time. Like, no one wants to see that. And once in a while, you
I don't
get
mind
lucky.
as the Eagles.
Yeah, but like you should get lucky, and you should get a guy that like you could start building around, and everyone knows, hey, that's Jayden Daniels' team, and it's the Commanders.
It's awesome. It's good for the league.
it
It's
is.
good
It
because
is.
you can't on one hand get mad at the quality of play of quarterbacks, like, and then this kid pops up. You're like, okay, for the next for foreseeable future, we got a guy like him at least.
Mm-hmm.
You got Josh Allen. You have. I'm not putting him in that class yet, right?
Yep.
But through 4 games, he's in that class in a vacuum. Like if you never watched football before and you were like, somehow you never watched, but you know it. and they were like, you just woke up from a nap, like a Rip Van Winkle, and you're like, hey, let me see how these quarterbacks are playing. Like blind assessment of the best quarterbacks in the league. Where do you think this guy?
He's up there.
I don't want to say it.
yeah.
I
Don't jinx him, man. He's
I'm not
playing too
going
good.
to, but he's playing really well, and I like what they're doing here. So, but for Kyler, I'll just say this because we've been glazing the Cardinals, and I'm sure there's going to be a Cardinals fan in here who's like, well, you loved us a couple weeks ago. I still like y'all, but Kyler's got to play better in the second half to hang with a quarterback like that, or in the first half to hang with a quarterback like that. When you're going for 6 yards a pop, which you can still do on this team, 3rd and 9, he's a little bit high. He's late on that little China route to Wilson. That it's like it's possessions. You can't give up possessions. You can't spot these guys' possessions. 4th and 1 before the half, you take a sack. If you're not going to run the ball, don't take a sack. So it ends up 17-7 with Washington getting the ball at the half, and then it's all she wrote. So for the Cardinals, absolutely, if you want to win this year, go make a move.
Quick.
Go make a move.
And they got San Fran next week. Doesn't get easier.
You sure about that?
Oh, what you think is easy for the Cards?
I'm saying the Cards have San Fran?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You said it doesn't get easier. Like that might be harder
Oh, that's
facing that offense.
Yeah.
It might be easier facing that offense
Oh, I see what you're
without
saying.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They still got Debo
I'm
back.
not trying to be hyperbolic.
But you are. You like Washington's offense that much.
Really, it's fun, dude.
Word.
He's just fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And McLaurin's awesome, dude. It's
I agree
just
with you. That's
good
why I'm
vibes.
pushing. That's why I'm pushing that we take a team trip up there.
Good
Something
vibes
like
all the way around. At some point, we have to talk to Falcons and Saints fans. It was hate week. Rex Ryan says Jalen is the weakest link in Philly. Is he wrong? You put me in these binary decision things where I have to say he's wrong or he's right. Like, I'm not doing that thing. I'm not doing the TV thing. It's a complicated league. Falcons, Saints. Can't win given it. Well, you know what's not complicated? Can't give them 14 points in the first half. You know what I'm saying, fellas?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what that comes down to.
The 2 defensive touchdowns.
Well, there's special teams
Yeah,
and,
there's
a,
special
and a
teams.
defense, and
Right.
you still had a chance at the end of the game with the go-ahead
I
drive.
can talk about that game if you want.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm still very high on the Saints. I don't know why exactly. The Falcons won this game. To me, it's just an example of what I was talking about with the Chiefs a little bit. Like the Falcons found a way to win this game, but more importantly, like the Saints lost it for themselves. Okay, that punt, horrible. You can't have that. They also like the pick six. It was a tip screen pass that just fell perfectly to a linebacker on the other side of the field. But like other than that, the Saints actually looked really good. Like Taysom Hill is a beast. Like he had 2 touchdowns as one was a wildcat running back. The other one he was lined up in the dot like 8 yards deep. I think the Saints are actually going to have a good season. Like they are not cooked, as Nate might say.
What do you think?
The Falcons
Are they
just
medium
made a
rare?
miracle.
I mean, I don't like them. Like we talked about earlier with coaching.
This is going to end with you getting paid.
No,
some
listen.
like
listen,
like
listen.
some grilling company.
Traeger.
I'm just saying to what Beau's saying. They played a good game,
Yeah.
and Taysom Hill is such a baller. But there was a section of the game where they're on the goal line and they ran a sneak. Like on the 1 or 2 yard line with Derek Carr twice. What the hell are you? And that's one of those things we're talking about. Andy Reid. That's a coaching thing. That's a coaching thing. Like you have someone who literally is on your roster, who's a second quarterback to do that type of stuff, and you don't put him in.
Maybe they were wasting 2 downs to try to run the clock.
No,
I don't know. I didn't.
I don't think so.
I didn't see that. I picked it up with Atlanta doing what they've done 3 out of the 4 first weeks, which is like with the game on the line, being able to drive the length of the field. They didn't win the Chiefs game, but like they're putting themselves in position in these games. It's pretty impressive. And Algier in the second half.
Played great.
Yep.
Yeah, he was running the ball really well, but like the Falcons didn't score an offensive touchdown. That's worrisome. You know what I mean? I don't think Kirk Cousins looked phenomenal. They just figured out a way to win this game off of a 58-yard field goal and 2 defensive scores, you know? Like so I think the Falcons are a good team. Like the NFC South is sneaky, a very solid division, I think, in the NFC. But like this was actually a pretty decent game. The Saints just blew it and they fucked themselves and they lost off of a horrible punt and then kind of a weird tip pass that ended up being a pick six. But like they're still built to win, is what I'm saying. Like Alvin Kamara looks good. He's a little banged up. The Saints in general are a little banged up. But I think they're going to be a problem down the stretch.
Dude played with broken ribs. Shout out to him. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
he's been looking really good.
Like to be a running back
Saints
and
are
play
good.
with broken ribs is kind of like mental.
No,
if
that's
you really
gangster.
Yeah, if you really think about it.
Yeah, because you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. But I will say Bijan's still the man. Like, I don't think it's like, hey, Bijan's not the guy. I mean, he's electric. So
Yeah.
it's just they have 2 backs.
Yeah.
They have 2 backs to play the hot hand.
Hey, those red helmets though, the Falcons
They're
came out
amazing.
in are nasty. They're sick.
They're
They need to go red helmet with all blacks. That's
No.
a filthy look. That
I
would
say
be good.
no. I say no. I don't know why I say no, but I say no. The chat probably agrees. I'm just fucking with y'all. I love the chat. It's just I gotta play a role, man. You know, I gotta play a role up here. If I just got up here and I was like, anyways, the Rams and the Bears played, you could be like, this guy's so boring. You know, I need you, chat. I need you to fire me up. You're like my shot of Toradol on a Monday morning. So it just hurts a little more because I'm like, what? All right. So, anyways, this third.
Shout out to Young Wei Koo.
Yeah, dude, and that's the whole thing.
way.
That field goal ended up being huge. The biggest play of the game might have been Kirk Cousins ripping that deep out.
Yep.
3rd and 31.
Yep.
It ain't 3rd and 31.
Yes.
It's 3rd and 15
Third-
or whatever it is, and he hit it.
No.
What do you say?
But then like the Falcons shouldn't have won this game, honestly. It was an unbelievable kick to win the game.
Look
but, like,
around, man.
Saints
Come on, Bo. You said the
wild.
Chiefs. Good teams find a way.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Good teams find a way.
What's your shirt say? Go
Sometimes
Cam.
average teams find a way too. Nolan.
All right. So, anyways, the last thing we have to talk about before we get into the rock fights and the mentions is the Jaguars, man.
Oh my God. The damn Jags.
It seemed a lot more fun to talk about him. Like, it's not fun to talk about your former coach being in trouble, especially when you like the guy, right? But I got to tell you, like, I sit here and I'm like, am I going to criticize Doug? Am I not? Like, I have a job to keep it real, but also, like,
Don't do it. I'm going down there in a couple of days.
No, I love Doug. I love Doug. Doug knows I love Doug. If Doug texted me after this and he saw this and was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'd be like, "I believe what I said. I think you're, yada yada." But they're not doing a good job. And like as a player, it's funny because we sit there and we're like, "Should I talk bad about my former coach?" Your former coach used to make decisions on your employment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm not worried about a take. Okay,
Doug was definitely up in the room shit talking you, Chris.
for sure. I mean, he liked me, but I love Doug.
Right.
But the point is, and he's done some great things. This team is not playing like they're well coached. They're not playing like a team that believes. And so now, especially on the heels of, in the offseason, Matt, you pointed this out. When they talked about, hey, Doug, who's calling the plays? He was non-committal. And now yesterday, when they asked what kind of a game they called, he was like, I thought he called a great game.
As coaches, we can't go out. Coaches, we can't go out there and make plays, right?
He said that.
That's how you know things are getting ugly in that building.
Things are getting ugly in that building. And so I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's not because the guy used to coach me and I like the guy. I love Doug, but this is not going well. And the next move that has to be made in an NFL room is like back. He kind of backed the bus. He kind of started the bus at the end of that game. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but now the bus is started. Now you back it up. You back it up and you say, I'm taking over the play calling, and you go like, last stand, because that's what you're on. Like, and this isn't like, I don't like firing people in this show or talking about guys getting fired because we throw that around too much where it's like, this guy should get fired. That I'm not in that building. I don't know. That's a wild accusation to make. I've done it before. Sometimes like when it's Brandon Staley and I'm like, bro, I just am incensed for that football team. But like, I don't know what's going on in that building. And Trevor Lawrence, the guy you just paid all that money for, can't hit the broadside of a barn. So,
right.
And you got guys in the chat running around calling Lamar a running back. And I'm watching this in certain places. Chris. Huh? Like this guy's supposed to be throwing the ball where he's – now the good news is you got a really good rookie wide receiver. He's going to be there a long time. But otherwise, people in that building, this is about high time to start looking around and saying like, who's going to be here? Because
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're a player and you start to hear a coach say like, I thought Press called a great game. As coaches, we can't go down on the field and make plays. Like, what are you thinking if you're in that locker room and you see that? You know what I mean? Like, that's when you hear that, you're like, all right, I gotta make some plays and get mine because this whole thing is fucked.
That's the thing in an NFL.
That's when
building.
You cannot galvanize a team that way. And I love Doug, just like you, Chris. We had some great times, but it's like when you say that, it just creates more division for a team that does not have an identity.
They have no identity. I don't know what they're good at, and no, I mean, like, we've all been in these buildings where, and as the rain starts outside here, that's what it feels like when you're in a building and you're 0-4. Like, I spent most of my career in those buildings, but I was never in one, except for 2018, where we were supposed to be good. And this team was supposed to be better. And they're not. And in these situations, I cannot describe what it's like to be in a facility when you start 0-4. Forget 0-4, like a bad loss, one of them. But when they happen over and over again, everybody in the building is looking to do this or to save their ass.
But that's what Doug is doing in the media too.
Well, listen, I don't think
trickles down.
Doug's not always been a wordsmith. I don't think Doug is like thinking of. I don't think he's that calculated. Now, I will say this.
I think he's just frustrated.
They're going to take it that way, and they should. And when you go in that building. And everybody's pointing the fingers, all you can control as a player is play your ass off. Just play as hard as you can. Be the guy on film that they're like, what the fuck is he playing for? Mm-hmm. That should be the goal of everybody in that building. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, maybe you can turn it around. But I doubt it. And if the quarterback doesn't play well, which he hasn't, it's hard to unlock the improvements you made. And, they're down Ingram and that sort of thing. And the reason I gave out the Jags last week was just total, like, dumbass play, ironically hit because of that barely because of that near safety at the end of the game. The reason I gave him out is because Trevor's gone down there and he's been competitive. I mean, I think the last game he won, he's had a Hurts like kind of regression a little bit without the MVP looking ass season. You know, like he's regressed like Hurts has regressed, but worse. And he's done it without the track record.
Right.
He got to the point where people were tweeting out, did he hold Urban Meyer back? Which is absurd. Best seat in the house. Urban Meyer, whatever show he's on now. He's like watching Trevor like, see, it wasn't my fault.
Right.
Yeah, it was. It was all your fault. And for Shad Khan, it seems unserious. Like, be serious, my dude. Like, I don't need anything from these owners. Like, I'm sure at some point if he saw this, he'd be like, well, fuck this guy. I'm not going to do him any favors. I don't need any favors. Here's what I don't like. If I'm a player, you coming out in the offseason and saying this is the best Jaguars team we've ever had. Like, you just, to me, it sounds unserious.
Maybe
Maybe
he meant the best team since he's owned the team.
How long has he owned the team? Did he own the Blake Bortles-led Jags?
Yeah.
Wasn't he there?
Okay, Chris.
Well, I believe
if
he was
you're
saying
on the
whole
Jag,
franchise history.
Yeah, I think he was saying since like 2000 or 96 or whenever the Jags came out of the jungle in North Florida.
And you think it's bad for owners to be optimistic?
Is that what I
No.
said?
No, I'm just saying. Like,
Answer your own question. Like what? I think it's bad for owners to be cartoonish.
okay.
I think it's bad for owners to make statements.
oh, that's
like,
a Jerry Jones.
No, I mean the Jerry Jones thing.
That's a great example.
is provide. Yeah, so you like Jerry Jones?
No.
Yeah.
Sounds like you do.
Why?
Nate just said he likes Jerry
Yeah.
Jones. That's
Let me
crazy.
say something quick.
That's hate.
How miserable
That's-
are you if you're in the Jags locker
That's
room?
lit.
You're 0-4. Your coach is basically throwing players under the bus, you know, whether it's on purpose or not. And you know that you have a 2-game stretch where you're going to be in London for the next 2 weeks. Like, you got to be really questioning your existence as an NFL football player.
Not this.
No,
next
that's
couple
where I
days.
want to be. I
No,
want to be in London. I want to be as far away from everybody that knows how bad I am.
No, but what about all the Jaguars legends or the alumni that got invited back for this game coming up? It just
Now we're getting
lands
to the
on
crux of it.
lands on this weekend when they're 0-4 and they're going to be announcing us with a bunch of fans already pissed off and mad that the team is 0-4. No one wants to see us.
Oh,
No
you're
one wants
defending Shad Khan because you're going to his house this
to-
week.
Yeah, like don't do this to me. What if he does watch this and he's like, "Hey,
I could give
you're
a
that
fuck
guy."
less.
Yeah.
Then what he's got to do is take it up with me, not a Jags legend. Let's not throw gas on the fire. The building's burning. Don't take it out on Jags legend Nate Collins, who all he wanted to do was get his free trip down to Jacksonville and enjoy a team that wasn't 0-4. And that's what this whole thing's about.
Basically, you want to have a good time, right?
That's why you're insane.
Hey, Nate,
You want to see the
let me
fans
ask you a
happy.
simple question before you head down there. Before you head down there to Jacksonville, one simple question. Are the Jags cooked?
Oh, Jags are cooked.
Hey, are they overcooked?
Jags are cooked.
Are they're medium well? That's so good.
They are very cooked, yo.
Okay.
They're right with the Bengals. Can't lie.
Chris, are you worried about the Texans at
Oh,
all?
speaking of, they're cats.
No,
Cats-
I mean,
oh yeah, the cats. They're eating cats.
they're eating the cat.
Cats aren't doing.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're not eating dogs because, as we're going to point out in a little bit, the big dogs are covering. Chris, is this Jags team worse than your worst Rams team? No chance in hell. I don't think you understand. You say I'm in a bad mood today. Do you know what a good mood I might be in if I didn't spend 8 years of my career doing that? You know, it's like anything good you do, nobody sees it. You know, everybody thinks you're just trash because they didn't see you on TV. You're 1-15, you're 2-14. We were almost 0-16. The only thing that kept us from being 0-16 was a fake field goal against the Detroit Lions. All right, we were so bad that our field caught on fire pregame one year. Like, that's how bad we were. We couldn't even get the pyrotechnics right. I remember one time I got cooked by a homeless guy walking out of the stadium. It was crazy. The guy asked me who I was, and then when I told him, he was like, "Get the fuck out of here, bro." I'm like, damn, the homeless are cooking me. So, anyways, dude, go look at Pro Football Reference. We had one of the worst teams of all time. Like, I can't remember which one, but it wasn't like this. There are guys on this defense, and I'm not taking a shot at myself here, but before Fish got there, it was ugly. Okay. Woo! Rock fights. Where do we start?
About Browns
Okay.
Raiders.
You know what? I want to give somebody else a chance. Is there another rock? Because I'm going to just yell about the Cleveland Vegas thing. You guys are tired of me today. Somebody else go.
No, go start it off.
Oh my
The
God.
Raiders.
I love hearing you rant, bro. What are you talking about? I live for this shit.
You live for this shit. Well, give me some more games like yesterday where I load up on the under 37 in Vegas.
Ooh.
And I swear to you, this was the biggest thrill ride in gambling history. I don't think anybody understands, except for me, except for the real sickos that were like, yeah, Deshaun's playing and Gardner Minshew's playing out in Vegas. I'm not going to pay any attention to the Chiefs. I'm watching this game. 37 was the number. Maybe you could tell me where they had 30 points. I think they scored the 30th point in this game in the middle of the third quarter. Like, it wasn't like late in the fourth. There was a 20-minute span where I was on a razor's edge, and when the fucking thing finally came crashing down on me, it happened to be the Raiders trying to ice the game in the fourth and fumble the ball with like 8 minutes to go, and the ball squirts out, and the fattest guy on the field picks it up and tries to run with it, and he fumbles, and it's like he fumbled on purpose into some other guy on the Browns' hand, and he runs it in for a touchdown. And so here I am thinking like, oh, the bet pushed. Like,
Rodney
this been-
McLeod.
It was Rodney McLeod.
Yep.
It was my
Rodney
friend,
McLeod.
Rodney. A lot of
UVA.
UVA guys playing big roles. By the way,
UVA guys.
Zacchaeus 8 for 70.
Yep.
He's awesome. He's gonna get made a household name by Jayden Daniels.
Yeah.
Okay, but
And our guy Wicks had 2 touchdowns.
he did.
Lost.
He took care of business once he dropped the ball. So listen, we got 37. They go in to score. I'm like, they're gonna push. As I'm lamenting it, kicker misses the thing. I'm like, oh my God, we got action, bro. And the whole game, I'm looking at it like, if we could just do this, if we could just do this. It basically turned into, with the Cleveland Browns down 4, it's like Cleveland had to score a touchdown, and that was it. And when it finally came down to it, actually, they're backed up, and Deshaun Watson, who I've been shitting on for the better part of a month, goes Michael Jordan. Like, he makes the play that you're going to kill me on. All these Browns fans are going to kill me on this, and I wrote off Deshaun. Yes, I did. And I'm not writing back, or whatever you want to say.
Don't write back.
But the guy jumps in the air and delivers like a beautiful vintage Deshaun 80-yard touchdown. Like, Cooper's wide open or whoever it was.
Flag.
And he's running down the field, and I'm just like, all right, well, that was fun. And they call it back.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, they're driving in the red zone with a chance to win the thing and just dash my dreams, shatter my dreams. And it's Charles Snowden,
Walk off.
Virginia's
Wahoo
own,
wah.
making the big plays at the end of this game to keep them out of the damn end zone. I mean, I tried to explain it to my wife just like that last night, and she was like, I don't get it. I just don't get, like, why would you bet something like that and put yourself through that?
You know what the Raiders are turning into for me? They're turning into the West Coast version of the Steelers. Not as good, but heavily relying on their defense. Basically, their defense has to play lights out for them to kind of have a chance to win, but they've been doing it.
Yeah.
If you keep points off the board and like, low scoring games, and you get into slug fights, if you're being tough and you can outstand the other people, you can win games that way. And we see Pittsburgh do it. And if I don't know, like without
They have a West
without
Coast
their star players on both sides, without Devontae Adams and without Max Crosby, for you to win a game like that, I feel like that has to be great for confidence in the locker room. Man.
Crazy, dude.
And you got to feel good as Antonio Pierce as a new coach. It's just like everyone's counting you out and they're writing you off and stuff. And like you don't. He's going through all this
Nice
for the
jersey,
first
by
time.
the
Raiders. He's going through this for the first time. So like to run into these type of things, we seen him last week talk about the business decision guys were making, and then a couple guys in play that probably has nothing to do with that. But even if it didn't. You still have to go out there and coach. You still have to put out a team out there to play to give the best chance to win. And to see them get wins like this, it's good for the organization and good for Pierce.
I think the head coach deserves a lot of credit.
Mm-hmm.
I think he really does. This is a game that you couldn't convince a lot of people to care about around the country, and you had reason to believe that you couldn't convince some of the guys that were on the field last week to care about it. And there were guys that didn't play because they were hurt, and Devontae Adams, Max Crosby was dealing with a high ankle. Like, get those guys right. But in a situation where you're down those guys, You're down Adams and Crosby, the two guys that like kind of make the two sides of the ball go for you. Bowers made some big plays, you know, Minshew's scrappy, the whole thing. But like without getting into it, it's just the convincing those guys there's a way to win that game.
Yeah.
Like after you took them last week and gave them the business at the podium, that's tough love. And then whatever they did this week behind closed doors, they went out and nobody cared about this game but the guys on the field and the people in the stadium, and they won it. And that's Antonio, I think, getting these guys on the same page and going out and fighting. You know, somebody wondered would they quit on him after he called them out. No. No,
because like we all know that as an ex-player and you guys, like you being in the locker room, if your coach, the ex-player is calling that out, you as a player, you probably know that, and you see it on tape. You see it on tape, and you know what guys like maybe take plays off in practice or whatever. And I don't think Antonio says that without it maybe being said or emphasized before, whether it was in camp or whatever. So, guys, if you really want to play ball and you want to win, you usually listen to the coach, and you're usually some sort of, I wouldn't say company man, but like you conform to what's going on. And this is a team that they're not the best, but all you have to do is feel that feeling of winning and knowing, hey, we can do this, and it gives you a chance.
West Coast Steelers.
West Coast Steelers.
That's what you're going with, okay?
I like it.
They need a couple bigger running backs. And
yeah, but their running back White, he's running hard.
They got a white running back?
No, but the dude, he's running hard, and those guys, I mean, it's next man up. It's names that you're not used to seeing. The kid Tucker, there's a lot of ways
to win the NFL.
Exactly.
We are way too like this team can't do this team can't do that.
I think that's the best way to put it. There's a lot of ways to win in the NFL.
Like you could win with
you as the coach just have to figure it out with the guys you have, and as long as you're winning, no one cares.
Right.
No one cares.
You could win with a great offense and a really bad defense.
You remember when Tebow made it to the playoffs? No one cared, Tebow.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. You remember. Yeah,
but,
I mean,
like I've seen teams that like they had to score 40 points a game and they make the playoffs. It's crazy.
Not a lot of teams who start off 1-4 make the playoffs. It's crazy. Pending weekend. Big weekend for the Bengals.
But for the record, I didn't say the Bengals are going to win this weekend. So he's going to try to cut a social.
No. But I'm going to be looking at all the stats for 1-4 teams who made the playoffs. Yeah. So I can come in here.
Can you do it with 1-3 teams?
It's probably not good.
Back. So the Raiders make the playoffs?
What's their record right now?
2-2.
They're 2-2.
They have a better chance than a team that's 1-3.
They have a better chance than the Bengals.
No, they do not.
Okay.
No, they do not.
I mean,
I rest my case.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Sometimes the plaintiff makes my case for me.
The film doesn't lie, and the film says that the Bengals are far better than the Raiders.
And the numbers say if you want to bet your money on BetMGM, you can get money.
What are the Raiders' odds to go to the playoffs?
Got to be plus 250.
What the fuck does Vegas know?
Yeah.
Anyways, Pats Niners. Purdy's good. Jennings is playing his ass off. We're not going to talk about the Pats a lot this year, I don't think.
No.
Until Drake plays, right?
It sucks. I'd love to talk about the Pats.
Well, I think that's it.
That's the interesting thing.
Right.
They're pushing for it, yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you're a Pats fan, obviously it's tough to watch right now, but every hit Jacoby's taking, be grateful that that's one hit that Drake is not
That's
taking.
why they can't put him in there yet.
Right.
You can't put him in there yet with that online. It's just
No, you can't. And honestly, like I said this yesterday, if Drake May ends up being a great player, he should, if he gets like an icy hot endorsement for $50 million, he needs to give $10 million of that to Jacoby Brissett.
Absolutely.
Because what he's doing right now is like he's being your guy in the meme. As somebody pointed out yesterday, the guy in the meme, like I don't even know what it is. A soldier like falling on something and protecting
he's
like a baby.
protecting the sleeping baby, and he's taking all the knives and the
That's exactly what Jacoby Brissett is. And we throw that meme a lot around, but I think we finally found the personification of that meme because, and it's also evidence that Gerard Mayo's got time. This group has time. Robert Kraft is going to give them time, and that they know what's best for the rookie. Now they might end up being like, oh my God, we're not good. Start him next week. And I'd be like, oh my God, you didn't know that? Like, fuck. I think they're doing the right thing, and I think it pays dividends to see a guy sit. And it's as simple as that. You look at Chicago right now. Let's get into the Bears.
The Bears.
Again, for the record, I think this kid could be fine. This kid's got some talent, but he did miss some throws yesterday, especially in the red zone before the half. Like, that's the one thing. The other thing I turned to Nolan during the game and said was, like, I haven't seen them move the pocket once with this kid. What happened to all the on-the-run throws in preseason?
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about yesterday. Bears fans, you tell me. But I think more than anything, this was a game that if you circled it before the season, you were like, oh, this will be fun. Hall of Fame quarterback matched up against the next Hall of Fame quarterback. Wow, it's going to be a lot of points. Well, because of the injuries and because of the way things have gone, this was about defense. And I just want to take time to give Chicago's defense their due, because the very thing that's supposed to rescue you is that quarterback. I'm sorry, I'm getting over a fucking cold. That's the very thing that's taken away from people talking about you. And so if you're those guys on defense who have been playing in circumstances that quite frankly suck because of the lack of complementary football, it'd be easy to resent the situation, but all they're doing is showing up and playing hard. Mm-hmm. And like with the game on the line, I thought Brisker played his ass off. Getting the stop at the sticks, him and a couple guys just wham, dude. And late in that game, I mean, Montez Sweat setting edges. Darrell Taylor, and I've been talking about this guy for a couple years, and finally this is like maybe we're seeing him come to life. Like on that front, he made a huge play he was floating over the guard, went inside out spin. This is an edge guy over a guard, inside out spin to help win the game. And we got to talk about the Rams guys too. A lot of people hit me up and they were like, Kris, is Jared Verse going to be like you where he's like winning a ton of rushes but can't finish his first couple years? And I'm like, all right.
That's hate.
I was like, well, it's not really hate. It's true. If I was a better finisher, I wouldn't be doing this. Okay?
I don't know. You got 3 kids, Kris.
I do have 3 kids. That's true. That's very good. That's really good. And quick, too. They're saying late in your 30s it takes a while. Not for me. So, anyways, the whole thing is this guy, Jared Verse, you wondered about him getting there, not just winning rushes, but him cashing in, and he did yesterday. And I thought Fisk was awesome. I thought Young was really disruptive. Like, there's a lot of good young defensive players that took the field in this game. We won't talk about Caleb every week and do a Caleb watch because the reality is the other guy in D.C. demanded 15 minutes of my time earlier. So, I mean, I'm not going to trash Caleb. It's just he's in purgatory right now because the group's not as good as you think, and Shane Waldron's not doing a great job.
It was good for him to get some help from Swift, though. Like
Swift was good.
With, my buddy Griff, he's on staff in the Bears, and he said that he's expecting a big day out of DeAndre Swift, and he balled out. Like that hurt on that run, that long run he had. That was nasty. I mean, I think Swift is great if he can help out Caleb Williams, and like if they can get a little bit more from their O-line protection, like I think that the Bears, can trend upwards from here.
They're one of 2 teams that if they figure out their offense and the quarterback, that they can be scary. Yeah. That's the Bears and the Steelers. And I'm not saying Justin hasn't figured it out, but if they figure out how to use him and take some chances, and for the Bears, if they just figure out how to run their offense, like this kid can make some throws, but he can't miss before the half. That in a low-scoring game, you got to make those throws. I don't think that.
Dude, I kind of feel for Stafford right now, man. Like I love him. I love him as a quarterback. Yeah, exactly. Like he's got to be having flashbacks at night.
Here's a guy I got to be honest, I don't feel for after a game like that, Aaron Rodgers, because you said you were gonna like pull the guy's heart out of his chest, basically. I mean, that's what I thought it was gonna be, right? Like Indiana Jones, a situation like that. But it ends up in a situation where you score 9 points or whatever it is. Like, was it 8 or 9?
9, yeah, and he had what two opportunities at the end to do what Aaron Rodgers does, drive down the field, and he put his team in the position to kick a field goal. But
7 wins away, Broncos.
No, that's big,
7 wins away, baby.
That's big, man. Like you talk about these little wins where, like, as your offense is figuring it out and like Beau's getting better. I'm not going to put my eggs in that basket necessarily, but the defense has been playing really good. And when you have a guy, and this is what we said the reason this was one of the hottest unders on the board was because they have PS2, who's going to take Garrett Wilson away, and he did.
Yeah.
And you've got Riley Moss, and you got guys who can man up.
When I win this bet, I already made it a point that I need to buy an official Pat Surtain jersey because he will be the reason why I win this bet.
And I'll buy a Riley Moss jersey.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he honestly he will be, because if he can just blanket and take away your number one option,
That's a big deal.
it's a huge deal. Like
Well, I always say I would draft if you told me I got a Hall of Fame corner, Hall of Fame rusher, I mean, it's not there's no wrong answer, but I'm going to take the Hall of Fame corner because I've seen teams make bad rushers into like good rushers.
And you realize how
with coverage.
good team, how much better you make your team. You remember Revis Island and those Jets?
Yeah.
Like how good they were on defense, because when you completely eliminate one person out of someone's offense or the main person on someone's offense, it just makes everything so much.
Stephon Gilmore in New England.
Yep.
They were scary good in the secondary. They weren't as good as people thought. Like when you looked at them, you're like, really, they don't have the best players everywhere on the field, but they have a guy that they can do so many things because you can erase somebody with this one guy. And so this is that kind of guy. He is impressive. So good win for the, I guess, revenge games. You can't just decide to beat somebody. And for Nathaniel Hackett, like that sucks because, and I don't like Sean Payton taking that shot. I'm not like I didn't like that shot, but also like
beat me,
beat him, right? Like
beat me.
You said you
right?
had something to prove. So I think this is a big win for Denver, and it's a sobering win for New York, where it's like, yes, Aaron can still sling the ball around the yard, but they aren't as good as maybe we thought they'd be.
Shout out to Bo Nix. You got a win versus Aaron Rodgers with only 60 yards passed.
Jimmy G got a playoff win versus Aaron Rodgers. Bro.
Oh, that is true. But bro,
that's not hate, because I think Aaron's one of the best human beings to ever throw the football.
60 yards on over 20 passes.
25.
That's like, and you won. You could be like, yeah, I won that game against Aaron Rodgers.
You don't. Hey, what was the score? It doesn't matter.
It's like being the dude in the group project that doesn't do anything gets an A.
Yeah.
The score should have been 17-9. The refs blew a fumble return.
Oh, yeah.
That was ridiculous.
That was
strip sack. Aaron Rodgers was laying on the ground.
I just voted no in the poll. Will Nate's Broncos over win total be over 9? I voted
That's
no.
hate.
I'm with it.
That is hate.
That's hate.
Nate's bet is cooked.
My bet is not cooked.
No, I'm not. But I'm not going to say it's cooked because that's just such a reductive thing to say. That's my problem. It's more of a reductive thing to say where you're like, this is a long season.
No, but I truly believe it.
The Bengals are cooked.
Yeah.
I can't wait. We're going to be watching every Bengals game this year. Like that. We just had a moment where now we're going to spend even more time as bros.
But bro, I said at the beginning of the season, I was on a BetMGM show, and I said like a team to look at a good under would be the Bengals.
That's why you're doing this.
That is why.
That is not. That's not why I'm doing it, but I just truly believed it. They're a team
Under 8.5. What'd you say?
Yeah, wins. Like
Bengals?
under 9. Yeah, I think so.
How much? I'll give you 2-1.
Second
time, my arm hurts from
bet
outreaching my arm. Okay, as we head to our BetMGM moments, thanks to BetMGM and all you football fans, I want you to picture something. Okay, you ready? Visualization is important. That's what Jayden Daniels does. You bet your favorite player's first TD scorer. Nate often does, but he throws a block to send a teammate into the end zone. And seemingly you lose your bet, right? Wrong. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first TD scorer scores second. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Keep that in mind next time you throw in a first touchdown score bet with BetMGM. Happy hunting.
All right, our BetMGM moments. First up, best flight.
Let's do it, dude. I'm cooking in here. It's hot.
Yeah, it is.
Did you guys turn the AC off? Is that it?
I don't know.
Don't touch that thing.
Nobody touched it. Okay. All right.
I'll make it colder though.
Yeah, you can make it colder.
Yeah.
Make it fucking colder, man.
It's the cooked meter we
The
installed
cooked meter.
today.
We are cooked. Look at my face, dude. I'm so cooked. You know how cooked I am in life? I can't sleep anymore. Put a breathe right strip on. There's some big mark on my nose. Like, I'm cooked. I can't even lost it, guys. Any insomniacs out there?
Best flight going to the Commanders for me. Your boy Jayden Daniels. Nice flight back from Arizona.
That's right.
First place in the NFC East. We're in first place. Just feeling good.
Is that a song?
No, but I just feel like that's what they. That's
I was like, am I supposed to know that?
It is now.
right. I feel like that's what they were on the plane heading back.
first
You're
place.
excited. You're
We're in
excited.
first place.
Especially a team too that you're a team that no one picked you. No one was excited about you except if you're a diehard Redskins or Commanders fan, and it probably just feels good. Feels good,
Dude.
and trending up. So
It's a long flight,
yeah,
but maybe not as long as you think.
from
Yeah.
Arizona to DC.
Because Jetstream and stuff like that. Does it work that way?
Sure,
It does go that
It
direction.
does. It does. It's always shorter coming back.
That's
than
the
going.
thing about that flight that makes it. That's a really key thing
It's
about
always shorter after a win, man.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Bo?
I got Bo Nix going back from New
God,
York.
they took
threw
both
for
my
60
flights.
yards. It's still got to win. That's a great flight.
There's only so many good flights.
I'm surprised you didn't go Minnesota, Bo. That's probably a bus ride, right? From
Yeah.
No, that's a flight. That's a 45
they gotta
minute
fly
flight.
that one.
That's a
Okay.
3-hour Ralph Green rental car trip.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
Chris Long to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in a couple weeks for LSU. Bama. Sorry, Bo. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, LSU, but you're going.
I'm
down?
going, dude.
Oh, how'd you get tickets? Who got you tickets?
Somebody gave me tickets.
Yeah.
Nate's trying to
How
get
you-
in on that.
If I can get
Do it.
tickets, how you getting down there? You flying down?
Yeah.
You got room?
Probably have room, but
Maybe.
Um,
If I get tickets.
so you got to get tickets, and then there's no hey, where are your tickets?
Oh, I don't care.
Because I can't.
No, I understand that. I just want to get in the game, bro.
I know you want.
You might see me. You might see me on the field.
You just
you're
invited
probably on the
yourself to
field.
LSU Bama. I love that, and I probably I haven't even been able to think about it. Here's what I don't want to do because
I feel like Nate just hit you with the date night voice. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, how you getting down there?
How you getting-
Like, hey, how you get down there?
we said
did you
yesterday we
drive
were like,
or
you know what a good
drug an
fantasy punishment would be? It'd be like if we sent you on a Carnival cruise with no money. Or we first said Carnival Cruise, and Nate's like, "Oh, I'm in. I'm tanking. My team's gonna lose."
I'm already
and then
in
we were,
last
and then
place.
and then we go. Yeah, but they're like, we're not gonna send you with any money. You're not gonna have like a credit card. And he's like, "Well,
Bare
fuck
bones
that."
cruise.
He goes, "Fuck that. I ain't doing all that."
No,
I was like, so everything's predicated on.
Animal.
can't be
Nate might
floating.
fit in with cruise culture, dude. Lot of interesting stuff going on those boats, man. You know,
You got
Sign up
room.
on your door, on a door. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, man.
Best flight. Yeah, I guess I'll just give myself the best flight. Worst flight.
I mean, it's got to be the Jags.
It's the
right?
Yags,
Like you
dude.
lose with 18 seconds left. Like
They're just cooking on
know.
that plane.
No, worst flight.
you're 0-4.
What?
You're getting thrown under the bus by your coach after games.
What's the worst flight?
Got to be the Browns. Got to be the Browns. You lose that game to Vegas, a game that
Oh,
you definitely shouldn't have lost. And then on top of it, you guys, they were already arguing on the sideline.
you're yelling at a tackle in the middle of the play.
Yo, like ripping his ass.
I know. Okay, so we don't fall into the Tom Brady thing. Tom Brady waits sometimes to get in the sideline, and Tom Brady's Tom Brady. Okay.
Yeah. But like but your starting quarterback and it looked like your backup quarterback also was ripping
Which
you.
tells me he's been making a lot of mistakes.
And so to have a long flight from Vegas to have to deal with that,
And you're DeJuan Jones. You're 8 feet tall.
like
You're
at
sitting
any-
in a
at any
first
moment-
class seat, making it look like a booster seat.
But any moment, like, what if you're in that flight, he just gets pissed off, like, I'm going back there, I'll slap these guys.
Oh, that'd be
I'm
the
seeing-
wrong
right?
guy.
I'm seeing all these replays
yeah.
of you guys
Oh,
just
yeah.
yelling at me and upstaging me, like, I'll try to get the block.
And then coming up behind me and putting your hands on my
Right.
shoulders, like not the guy I want.
or the baby boy. Put him in
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
headlock
Not
on
the guy I want
plane.
doing that.
So worst flight, Browns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bevil Conway Award, the most beautiful scene in football.
I'll go right back to that game, Cleveland and LA or Vegas, because everybody's like, "Oh, look over here, Chargers and the Chiefs. It's a shoe in." But that all white get up that the Bengals roll out is beautiful, and I maintain that is the most gorgeous indoor football setting in football. I think Minnesota's up there, and I don't like indoor football.
Yeah,
but that place is
Those
gorgeous.
two.
It shows really well on TV.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
My Bevil.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Nate.
I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna go Jets Broncos rainy game because football isn't always pretty. Like it gets gritty. That was a gritty game, and believe it or not, I heard you guys commenting on it. I kind of like the iridescent, shiny helmets that are kind of two-tone, different colors when the light's on it different. I like that. I don't know, but I like that. And I think it's cool. I think it looks it's something different, but I enjoy it.
Okay.
But I'm going Bevil Conway. Sunday Night Football. The All Blacks from the Ravens are nasty, and then I feel like there was like a blackout in the field that looked dark. With the Bills like blue. I thought that was slick. I like that look. That was a good night game. Bevil Conway right there.
Yeah, that was gorgeous. I mean, when the Ravens,
those All Blacks,
Ravens go all black, like they look really cool in that thing. Like Derrick Henry looked like cool as hell running down the field. Looked like a big spider, dude. He's got like 6 foot legs, little torso. He reminds me like a big scary spider in that all black uniform. All right.
Anti-Bevel.
Those hats, like, what are we doing with those hats? Like those plaid hats.
The plaid ones?
They suck.
Those are brutal.
They're brutal.
Yeah.
They're terrible. Is it mandated that they have to wear them? Mm-hmm. Could it be a situation where it's like, hey, I need a hat, and the equipment room's like, here you go. And you're like, no, I'll take the other hat. And they're like, no, here you go. Because that hat sucks. Yeah. It shouldn't be worn.
Anti-Bevel is going to Central Arkansas with the two-tone field. There was a video that went viral of a QB punting, and it's a cool video of the punter. Great video for that, but I was too distracted. This is terrible.
This is awful.
This is like
yo, and also the
end zone.
The end zone doesn't match.
And so it's like that's what I was saying. Yeah. It's actually like it's like 3 tones. That's crazy.
Arkansas, like a Pine Bluff,
Central Arkansas.
A directional Arkansas school.
Like I couldn't even focus on how great this quick kick play is because I was just like, wait, like what school is this or where are they?
Can we get a new stadium? No, we don't have the funding for it. We're going to spend a bunch of money to make our field look like dog shit.
Or maybe that was the only turf. That was the cheapest turf, and that's all they had left.
That's like the plaid hat version of a football field.
For what you got.
Yeah, this is. By the way, this is the only turf color we have left.
We ran out of money.
Yeah, we ran out of turfs. All right, fly on the wall.
I got one. I wanted to be a fly on the wall at practice last week of Shanahan. Who was it he was telling Ayuk? Shorts. He had to go change his shorts because it wasn't the right shorts.
Okay, Ayuk's right because red looks a lot better than black shorts. Like if I'm trying to swag my uniform out in practice, he's right.
Not when everyone.
That's hate.
Everyone else on the team has black shorts.
I'm saying though, he's right about the in the spirit of the debate.
Yeah.
I would
That's
say,
hate.
Kyle.
Kyle, that's hate.
That's hate.
Hate.
No, but he's upset. Things are not well.
Black shorts are cooked.
Things are not well. How many times did he get the ball Sunday?
Only a couple.
Jennings went off.
Yeah. Flying the wall for me, I'm going Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh's snap count meeting.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
Those guys don't. Those guys don't like each other.
You don't think so?
I'm so tired of seeing Aaron Rodgers in the media with stuff like that, man.
I don't.
Did you see Aaron, the answer he gave?
What was the answer? I told you I didn't pay attention to the bottom tier games.
He was asked. Aaron Rodgers was asked. Hey, the Robert Saleh said that because of the penalties, maybe we shouldn't do such an extensive snap count, all that stuff. And Aaron Rodgers was like, well, they have to be the penalties were on them.
One way to think about it.
Yeah, he's like one way to think about
he
it.
said, why don't we hold these guys?
Why don't we hold them accountable?
There's a bunch of false starts that.
So now the claim is
was
publicly being made that Saleh's not holding guys accountable, which.
He just flipped. Aaron Rodgers flipped the script on Saleh there real quick.
Yeah, but Saleh doesn't strike me as passive aggressive. I think maybe Saleh was saying, I didn't hear it. You know, how did it
Yeah.
sound? Did it sound like Saleh was taking a shot at Rodgers?
No, I think that he was taking a shot at the fact that they had 5
Too
false
many
starts,
penalties.
and that hurt
Yep.
them in this game,
Right.
not the whole season and career that Aaron Rodgers has had utilizing snap counts to his advantage.
And I
Then
think
it came across to
ultimately-
me like Rodgers got a little bit defensive about it. That's how that was my take on it.
Well, listen, if he doesn't like the guy, that's where he decided to go play there. You know, like, and then you got everything you want in the offseason. You know,
I mean,
what didn't he get?
more than 9 points.
So I don't know, man. I'm a little bit like they're the same age, kind of like Salah's a little bit older. It's a different relationship that you have to understand, but I just wouldn't take a shot like that if that's what it was. But I didn't see it. I can't make a, you know, you got to see the quote. You can't read the quote. You got to see the quote.
You got a fly on the wall, Chris?
I got to fly on the wall. That referee down in Miami. I'd like to be a fly on the wall inside that little when after that Hail Mary. Because I'm just going to tell you, and I tweeted this the other night, like I would rather stick my head in a beehive than be him in that moment and stick my face in that little thing and make a decision that, quite frankly, you can tell me. I got a lot of conspiracy theorist buddies who are like, there's a script.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, like somebody will text me and be like, and it's my boy and everything, but my boy will text me and be like, what do you think? These primetime overs, you know, like, isn't it weird that the over hit in the first Monday night game and then the second game, you know, like, I'm like, I don't think they're pulling the strings like that. But what I will tell you is these referees are human beings. And when you're on a trip to Florida, you know, after the game, what are you other officials doing? We might go out to Wet Willie's. We might go sit down there at the
You see, there's a commercial for this now.
What?
Where the referee makes
No,
the
I know.
call and
And
he goes home to his dog.
And what did I say last night in the middle of that commercial when he walked into it? I was like, what's going to happen? I go, gunshot. I was like, somebody's going to snipe him through the window. That's the most realistic because that's how crazy we are about officials. But honestly, it was like, these are human beings, and you go down to Florida to call a game, and I don't know if you mean it to happen this way, but the Hail Mary thing, you're tasked with having to possibly tell 60,000 people who think they're going to win a national championship and Cam Ward's going to win a Heisman Trophy and they're going to the ACC, is like, if you had to come out of that thing and say, like, that's a completed pass, you are having a mini fridge night, my brother, in the hotel room. You're not going anywhere. Like, in fact, you need like security to get around the city.
I love that.
I guarantee you part of him was thinking about those couple drinks that he'd been thinking about all week on South Beach. That all goes away if you don't make that call.
But I love that it happened to Virginia Tech.
You saw the same ref from the Miami Duke game in 2015.
What did he do?
Same ref.
thing.
It was the lateral. So Duke kicked it to Miami. Duke was about to beat Miami. There was like a couple seconds left. They returned it. Called a touchdown on the field, but there was a flag. They picked up the flag, which is not allowed. There was also in the review, there was also one of the players who had his
Always
knee
something.
down before he threw the ball.
This
And then-
guy was going to King of Diamonds later. You can't. You know what I'm saying? Like
Tootsie's.
he was going to Tootsie's. Why can't he go to KOD?
Tootsie's is a better spot.
But the point is, this guy really. Somebody said Russillo's scripted. Has Russillo said it's scripted, bro? I'm all for anything funny that Russillo says. So if you want to bring up Russillo in the chat, I'm doing a live show with Russillo tomorrow night. Fly on the wall. Have you guys given it? We about wrapped up here.
We're good. Best seat.
Best seat, Dorrance Armstrong. Again, you go to the Commanders. You're like, I'll just go get the bag, and then not only are you having a really good season where you're getting home a lot, and I think people are realizing you're better than they thought because you get typecast as a big guy, big stiff guy. He's rushed well, and not to mention he's looking back at Dallas like, fuck, am I glad I'm out of there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Washington. How does that make sense? It's crazy. Jayden Daniels, how it makes sense.
Best seat, Falcon fans in the end zone for Younghoe Koo's game-winning field goal.
That's right.
Just probably feels good just seeing that, not knowing, seeing how far it is, and just seeing it travel. And it's a great win. And I know if I was a Falcons fan, being there for that game, it was exciting. So, Younghoe Koo.
Younghoe Koo, if you're going to celebrate after your field goals demonstratively, you have to hit him.
Have to.
If you're like a cool ass kicker, that's why I knew as soon as he lined up, he was gonna hit that.
Kickers who
He's a
miss
cool-ass kicker.
It's
He's a cool ass kicker.
I ain't gonna lie. There's kickers are really stepping the bar up because kickers now, like to hear you're making 55 plus and guys are making 60s is
Hey, that was
crazy.
without a doubt for me when he
Kickers
lined
have
up.
been balling.
I don't have a worse seat.
Hold on, I got a best seat, Christopher.
Okay.
Wait, hold on a minute, player. My best seat is Brock Purdy's mom.
Oh,
She's watching her little baby boy play against the New England Patriots. He's got a camera up in his face. She says, gives his mom a little shout out. How heartwarming is that? You
I
love to
see
see
that.
that in the modern NFL. Nice to see a guy give his mom some love on national TV.
It is nice to see that. I mean, like when you can find your parent is what you're saying is he knew where the parent was?
No, he shouted her out on camera.
he just
Oh, shouted out on camera.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I love you, Mom.
Worst seat. What you got?
Worst seat. I don't have one. There's no bad seat.
I got
today.
one.
I got one too. Go ahead.
I got a
Paul.
bad one. KB up in the booth listening to Tom Brady shit on Baker Mayfield and give him a little throw shade at him for 3 hours straight.
Oh yeah, that's
Going
tough.
into a rant about Baker. And he's just sitting there like, the meme where the guy's like looking, with
Yeah.
the straight face, the Popeyes kid.
Oh yeah, Popeye's good.
Worst,
Yeah.
worst seat. I'm giving it to myself. Going to the Jags game this weekend. The Jags are 0-4, and on top of it,
You're cooked!
Look, on top
You're
of it,
cooked this week!
The one little bright energy of the
Yeah.
game is that they're playing the Colts, and I want to see Richardson play, and I might have to see Flacco. I might see Flacco play.
But that's good too.
I don't want to see Flacco.
For a limited time,
I
bro.
want to see Richardson play, bro.
a limited time, dude.
Like, no.
You guys got a
Richardson is
damn
cooked,
Super
Nate.
Bowl ring.
Say again?
You guys a Super Bowl champion.
I don't care, bro. I don't care. I want to see the young kid play, man.
I would want to see him play too, but you just need to worry about the mood down there in general.
Hollow Man.
Oh, I got easy.
Oh, Hollow Man. Okay.
Hollow Man going with Mahomes and Rice.
Yeah, that's tough. Like it physically was him.
It physically was him.
Not that he was obviously, but shit, dude, that one's gonna. He's not gonna sit well with that.
And then the internet and the memes running with it is always crazy too. They said it was a sacrifice for their team.
Probably,
Now they're just gonna go off.
probably some conspiracy theory. Hollow Man, QBs with axes to grind. Kyler, Aaron, bad days. Could have been better. STL Memorial. Yeah, go ahead.
My Hollow Man is just Brees Hall. Not play well, like 10 carries, or 10 yards.
Yeah, dude.
10 carries, 4 yards.
10 carries for 4 yards. Raylan Allen, young buck from Wisconsin, is playing really well.
Yeah.
It's like imagine you're the guy, you're not playing well. You got the young buck playing really well under you. It's, that's a bad feeling.
It just reinforces sometimes that running back is a position of being a benefactor or not a benefactor. You know what I mean?
That is true.
And so we get out over our skis with guys sometimes. And I think some of it's projection with Brees where he's got all these talents, but that was not the kind of game. If you're claiming he's a top 5 back, you can't have a game like that. STL, 2 people. The punter for the Vegas Raiders, AJ Cole. What's your Venmo? The opposite of Nate Wiggins, who owes me money. I owe him money. That was an incredible job. Look at that DB flex he's doing. I fucking love this guy. Can I send you a T-shirt or a hat,
so
buddy?
great.
Hell yeah.
Can I send you? Yeah, look at that. Strut on him. This guy
so
flipped
good.
the field, man. He flipped the field and he saved my family. Anytime the Browns play, a punter always takes center stage. You remember 2 weeks ago, Bajorquez with the coffin corner damn near won in the game. It's always going to be a punter. Somebody had a really good idea yesterday. When we do Cleveland games, we're just going to spotlight the punters.
The punters.
We're going to do the whole breakdown is about punters. Shout out to him. And then also, I think, this is from last week. I want to break a rule. The Giants' edge players, they kept that team in that game. Thibodeau.
Ryan Burns was sick.
Thibodeau is playing his ass off. Okay, so you might not like some of the things he said. You might not think like the way he moves around the camera, but this fucking guy can play. There's a lot of criticism of this guy. He's played well, And the tackles, the tackle, they took care of business outside. Like, no, I'm talking about the offensive tackle from Georgia. Forgetting his damn name because it's 3 hours in the show. Andrew Thomas. He had a great day at the office. So, like, if you're the Giants, I know Daniel Jones might be holding you back, but there are some good things going on there. And some of them are guys that Gettleman drafted. I know I'm not saying he did a great job, but I'm saying, like, some of the ones that he hit on have turned out to be decent players. And I think the edges of your offense and defense are important. At least you have a lot of that right there.
STL Memorial for me. I'm giving it to UVA alum Charles Snowden, who had 3 QB hits and a walk-off sack for the Raiders.
That was awesome.
It's awesome. And then for us watching the game and Kris sweating that under, that sack, it was exciting. And then to see one of our ex-UVA players making the sack, it was a cool.
Jubilation.
Right?
That's the only way I can describe
Jubilation
that moment.
is a good one.
My wife wouldn't understand. It's about the wins and the losses. Okay, it's about totals. All right,
The Raiders.
Beau?
At my STL Memorial, not a super sexy pick, but a dude who had a great game. I don't think he's been getting any love. Is Downs from the Colts. 8 catches on 9 targets, 88 yards. He had 6 first downs. He was big on third downs. Flacco was connecting well with him. He had a good game.
Game ball.
Game ball. I don't know. I don't want to make it complicated. I think it's Sam Darnold. No, you know who I want to give it to? Kevin O'Connell. I want to give it to Kevin O'Connell. Sorry, Sam. Let me take that game ball from you. Let me RKK you. Kevin O'Connell. He's a great coach. I could give it to Jefferson. I could give it to Flores. I could give it to Sam Darnold. I could give it to, like, any number of the great players. I could give it to Kwesi. Give it to the GM. Game ball, the Vikings organization. The whole team. They have Aquapana in their refrigerators. I need a bottle opener to hydrate in that facility. Everything there, it's like the city on a hill. It's gorgeous, and they're playing good football.
I got my game ball. Going to Koo from the Falcons. I mean, he won him that game, 58-yarder for the win. Was sick, but he also, like I said, the Falcons did not score offensively. He was the only, they had a special teams touchdown, a pick 6, and then he hit from 58, 53, 44, and 42. And that game winner was ice cold, man. 58 yards, set the record in that stadium. Sick.
You took mine, but my backup game ball, I'm gonna give it to Torrey Taylor, 66-yard punt to the 8-yard, flipping the field in the game that was crucial. And punters, the kicking game, kickers are being asked to do more with kicking farther field goals, and now punters are. I feel like this is first time in a little while where we're hearing about punters or seeing these kind of corner coffin kicks happen weekly, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of exciting. They're getting some love, and
you know what? I thought all they did all these years was just fucking play video games and skip practice.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say, for guys who get to fucking leave practice early and go play golf,
it's about time y'all did something. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
All right, Nate, what's your viral moment of the week?
Fax viral moment of the week this week is going to Ryan Williams, 17-year-old that potentially I'm going to get to see play against LSU in a few weeks.
God, that was so sick, bro. This is the
75-yard touchdown where where he could have just ran out of bounds. He makes these 2 Georgia defenders who are great athletes in themselves look very bad. And just to find out and know that this kid is 17 years old, foregoing his senior
that's crazy.
year at high school, like with all his buddies from his football team probably watching this, like, yo, this dude was supposed to play football or just finished playing football with us this year, and this is what he's doing now.
I think I just started playing varsity at 17.
That's what I'm saying. This
it's just crazy.
Crazy, bro.
How cooked we are.
Yeah.
When you watch humans that are that young and that talented, it's just like, hey, we are.
And that's like a pro move. It's just like he moves different and just.
And that was his second highlight of the
cut
game.
that he hit?
Yeah, exactly.
He's sick.
Roll damn Tide.
That is
Roll damn tide.
Roll Tide.
Drip
Yeah, I was just
bro.
trying to grind with chicks at the homecoming dance when I was 17. This dude's out here
Trying?
fucking trying. Trying.
How do you try to do that?
Kinda
creepy.
You don't want to know.
Bo, what's our drip alert this week?
Oh my gosh, dude. Drip alert was J Jeff after that touchdown against Green Bay. Watch his celebration. This is the sickest celebration I've ever seen.
Very
Shoves him off him, stares him down. Look at this flip, this ball spin.
The-
Right into the gritty while the ball is still spinning. That is
Swaggy.
electric.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
So swaggy.
He's unbelievable. I know that
That's so sick.
I know I didn't earn this. Is Drip King the last thing?
Yep.
Bo, you can close the show however you want to because you won the fuck meter. But
Fuck.
Howie Roseman, I wanna look
on
right-
the
I want to look right into the camera, and I want to make a plea. Call whoever's running the Browns,
Andrew Berry.
Andrew Berry. You actually know him, and ask Andrew Berry what it would cost for Myles Garrett to wear midnight green. If you're serious about winning it all this year, if you're serious about burning the ships, let's burn the ships. Let's give these guys back. Give Andrew back some capital after that terrible decision that they made in Cleveland. People are going to be for sale there. I know it sounds outside the the realm of seriousness, but why not? Pick up the phone.
Real quick
all I have
before
to
we
say.
go, Nate, who are you going to bet as your first touchdown scorer tonight, taking advantage of BetMGM's second chance promo?
I am going with Huntley. The Dolphins, they're desperate, and they haven't had their starting quarterback in a few weeks, and their offense looks stagnant. So I think the running quarterback is going to be in there, and hopefully Tariq, he clears out some room for him.
Yeah.
Preferably on a scramble, but who cares? Get in there, first touchdown. And if he doesn't score the first touchdown, lucky for me, he'll probably score the second touchdown so I can get my money back with the BetMGM first touchdown promotion.
And Bo, do you have what are we watching on Butter Breakdowns this week? And then we can show your video.
Wanted to watch my boy Vita Vea, super good player, had a good game against the Birds. Probably going to break that one down. And then also, Kris mentioned this, but Jared Verse for the Rams had a nice
Stud.
day against. Yeah, I think he had 2 sacks, maybe one and a half, 6 pressures, and like 3 tackles. He played well. So going to do those 2 guys. Always stoked to watch Vita play. I thought he had a huge impact in that game.
All right, Bo, here's your victory lap.
My victory lap.
Oh, this is great.
I want to pull up some highlights of my boy C Long.
Oh, that's really nice
Had
of
a
you.
tough
Why'd
day.
you pull up the ones where I look old? Look how
Well,
slow I am.
that's- You look great.
That's
Chris. Come
that's
on
a
now.
strip sack
It's a strip sack.
and a dance.
Look at those
Look
moves.
at that.
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
Because you told me,
That's
you
grinding
go, I
at the
need you to
fan, dude.
dance. You said if we, I need you to do a dance. Look at you. And then I did a dance. But I think the video's buffering. or
And
something.
I think I want to say I remember you were mic'd up in this game, and I'm pretty sure 75 came to you at one point and said my technique's terrible, and you gassed him up. You said no, it's not. I don't know if it was
His
terrible or
technique
not.
wasn't great at the moment, but like he was just too down on himself, and I know the guy. People were like, "Oh, Kris, what a nice guy." He made that guy feel like he wasn't trash, and he wasn't. It's just I was real cagey at that age. Still leading the league in like
Great
pressure, quarterback, pass rush win rate. Something that means nothing. Okay, all right. Take care.